Hello and welcome back to Dial H for Heroclix. This week we're going to be going over a complete set review of Empyre, talking about it in sealed, in casual, in competitive play, our thoughts on sculpts, and the figures in general, since the entire set is, well, we can see all the dials online. We'll also answer some listener questions. This is episode 393. I'm your sexy ranch hand co-host, Kalder and Simeon. Howdy, howdy. Let's get rowdy.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional...
Heroclix?
No.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100?
Instant deadpan humor.
Over six people think I am funny.
It's a hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Which
Absolute fools, it's not.
Witcher nonsense.
I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever. Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack symbol.
Let's attack Simeon because he's a jerk.
Wow, wow, wow.
Now, yo, bada bing, bada boom. Dial H for Heroclix is brought to you by cooleststuffatinc.com. We can get the cool stuff in stock every day, including all latest Heroclix singles and sealed products. All right, make sure you check them out at coolestuffatinc.com. All right, you know what you're talking about? And now I can't do the voice. I want to just nix all of that because that was painful. That was painful for everybody.
I was going to say, I waited a week to hear this.
Waited a week and it was really bad. Like, it was really rough. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Get your cool stuff at coolestuffatinc.com. We can find the latest HeroClix singles and sealed products. Make sure you check them out at coolestuffatinc.com. Use code DIAL5. That's DIAL5. 5% off. You cool stuff ain't going. Hey, yo, buddy. What do you think? Hey, yo, buddy, how you doing? I don't know. That's the voice I'm doing in the show.
Cool stuff Inc. in here.
Cool stuff Inc. in here. Hey, where's the freaking gabagool? Sopranos is on later. Let's go. Bada bing, bada boom. So I'm trying to click some heroes over here. You know how
Don't
it is.
forget about it. Dial 5 for 5%. Oh, jeez.
Bad. Hey, Simeon. What's going on? This is Simeon. This is Simeon Bruce. This is my co-host. That was for Heroclix Champion.
That was Brooklyn Borough President. I don't even know what a Brooklyn name would be. I guess it's
Tony.
just a normal person.
Yo, it's
name
Tony.
just,
Yo, hey,
yeah.
Tony. How you doing,
there we go.
Tony?
Yeah. Tonio Bruce.
Everybody's named freaking Tony. How's it going, Simeon? So, what made you happy this week? How you doing, man?
What made me happy this week? I'm doing pretty good. Not too bad. Even though it's getting real cold, it is actually supposed to hit like 70 next week, which is strange because it's real cold right now and it's about to snow. But what made me happy this week was my work had a little get together, which is kind of few and far between. We don't do that very often, but we had some Famous Dave's barbecue, which is A-OK barbecue. It's all right. I don't like barbecue joints that, like, the main selling point of their barbecue is that they have good sauces. I'm like, that means you failed at, like, the actual barbecuing part.
Meat preparing part, yeah.
Because the meat should just, like, honestly, barbecue sauce is great and all, but the meat should really, like, speak for itself. But it was good. I'm not gonna diss on Famous Dave's. It's chain restaurant style barbecue, and they do it okay. It's pretty decent. Like, it's not the most amazing thing, but then we played.
It's solid though.
Yeah. The sides are good. Meat's not like too dry or anything.
Cornbread muffins.
Right.
Sell my child for some cornbread muffins.
The cornbread muffins. That is like still my favorite way to eat cornbread is Famous Dave's cornbread muffins. Most cornbread I've had is kind of bad, but their muffins pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did that. We played some cornhole, and I went 2-3 in cornhole. I was the first three. I was 3-0, and then I continued playing and got progressively worse. It was not really my game, but like at a certain point, I like really got a feel for the board. And then we switched boards, and the new ones like were way too slick. So the way I was hitting it, they just like the bean bags were just like shooting off the back end. For anyone that's never played cornhole, it's just a board on the ground that's like slightly angled, and you throw a bean bag at it and try and get the bean bag in a hole. Yeah, that's what you do. It's a real easy game to like play it's hard to be good, but I was almost good. That made me happy.
All right, dude. Nice. What made me happy this week? Last night was our very first live show for Elf the Musical. Was it perfect? Oh, definitely not. But we had a good time. I think I sang pretty all right. I think the acting went pretty well. I actually think my dance scenes were also way better than they had been in practices of past. So no, I was pretty freaking pumped that the musical happened, that we got to do it in front of a crowd. It really brings that energy. If you've ever been in a play or a musical or anything like that, you know the crowd really just brings a lot of energy, and it's easier to act and everything and play off of the reaction and everything, which is really fun. So yeah, I was just very excited. Got to see superfan Lucas Van Holland and also supporter of the podcast Kevin Nelson drove all the way down from Sioux Falls to come check it out. I really respect that. Really glad they came down and enjoyed it, had a good time. And yeah, quite a few other people I knew came and saw it. So yeah, finally knowing we got this weekend and then next weekend, and then all that hard work is paying off. So yeah, just having a good time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, Simeon, we got a lot to talk about here. So it's not really news. It's just entire Empyre set is out. Simeon, we've talked about it personally, you and I, going back and forth on what we think about it. People seem to like the big old mega episode we did for Rise and Fall. So we've had a good 4-month breather, so I think it's about time for another 3.5 hour podcast episode.
We're gonna try and nail this one in a little bit quicker, without taking out too much of the flavor. So this will be like the famous Dave's barbecue version of a set review. No.
Can I just say one quick thing about the famous Dave's, though? Sorry to bring it back to that. Your pet peeve with barbecue places is my pet peeve with steak places. Assume you agree. If your steak needs a sauce, you've done it wrong.
Like, absolutely.
You need to go out back and take your apron off, go home, a restaurant.
I already have an issue with steak places. Just because the simple fact that I can make a good steak at my own house. So if the best that you can bring to the table is like steak and there's nothing special about it, it's got to be either like a really good cut of meat or something. Like prime rib is something I can't do. I cannot make a good prime rib.
I can't either. Yeah, it's tough.
But steak is hard to mess up. And places that try and charge like $30 for a steak, I'm like, I could just do it myself. That's fine.
If you're gonna make a steak restaurant, you need, like Simeon said, you need to bring more to the table. If I cannot get my oil changed and eat a steak at the same time, I don't want to go.
Yeah,
if
I can get a tire rotation and some country fried chicken with steak and gravy, what am I even there for?
Non-sponsor, but go check out Quaker Steak and Lube.
I actually found, I can't remember the name of it, but there actually is another, it's not Quaker Steak and Lube, but there is another like auto care plus like food place that I drove by the other day. I'll have to look it up and figure it out later. But yeah, apparently it's not just Quaker Steak and Lube. There is a need that people have filled by making these restaurant auto service places. So.
Absolutely. That's what you need. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and jump into Empyre, or Empyre set review. Simeon, do you want odds or evens?
Ooh, I'll just say evens because I don't know.
Evens?
I don't know what it's gonna give us.
Hey, well, with primes and everything, who knows where we're going to actually end up. We're going to switch places a few times with odds and evens. So I'll start off. Hulkling in the commons. He's a fairly simple, very basic sculpt here. He's 50 points, double target, and he's a charge blades figure. He only has a 17 invulnerability. Has a cool trait that helps him protect Wiccan. Let's mastermind Hulkling here. But overall, I think Sealed, he's like your Wolverine common pick of Sealed, where it's like charge blades. But outside of that, like, this is a really bad figure. It's just, charge blades, nothing higher than a 17 defense, no protected outwit. he's got shape change on his 6 with scrolls. Besides that, it's a pretty bad figure. Not a great sculpt, but Hulkling's kind of the main guy of the set, so it makes sense that he's number 1.
Yeah. We're never expecting a ton from like the 001 in the set. 50-point flyer and sealed. It's like,
right, yeah,
it'll fit on teams in sealed and battle royals, but nothing super crazy special, unlike number 002. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can follow along with what I'm doing, what figures we're looking at. I am using clicksnexus.com, so thanks to them for providing this an easy recordable format for me. Number 002 in the set is the Scroll Spy, 4-range stealth shape change top dial, which you will notice if you haven't already looked into this set. Scrolls are the only ones in this set that got shape change, so they unbenched it specifically for them. So this guy does have a 50-50 shape change because of the Scrolls team ability in that top tile shape change. The only interesting thing that he really brings to the table is a sidekick, but he's got sideline active, which is always interesting. For all characters with this trait, when an opposing character is KO'd, you may choose Scroll Spy on your sideline and roll a d6. On a 5-6, you generate the chosen Scroll Spy from your sideline on click 2 in the square the KO'd character last occupied. Are you going to do that for it's going to be an 11 for 2 with sidestep? Probably not. I feel like that's just giving your opponent more points. It doesn't stop your opponent from KOing characters like some sideline active things kind of do. But it is interesting nonetheless. This is not even a good piece for sealed, really. It's going to be like a tie-up at best. And at the 20-point line, it's like the last thing that you need to fill out the team, pretty much. Like you're not going to grab this right off the bat, not unless you have a lot of scrolls.
But still, it has a lot to live up to with the past scroll generics we got, so it obviously couldn't do all sorts of crazy stuff, but yeah. Kree Soldier, on the other hand, I think is a really solid pick for sealed. Obviously, same thing, sidekick, roll tag. Shield, team ability, 6 range, 20 points. I really like it, running shot, and 11 for 2. If you have any other enhancement on your team, that's super helpful for these guys. But, in a running shot with an 11 attack, solid. That 2 damage is a little rough, but there's a lot of toughness or no reducers in this set. So he's a little poker. So 20 points for an 11 attack, shield TA to boost the range and damage of your higher, heavy hitter figures. For even 20 points, just the shield TA is also really solid. So I love this guy in sealed. I think he is a solid Kree Soldier generic if you want to play him in casual and everything. Also a solid, just soldier keyword generic. So no, I like the Kree Soldier. He's not crazy, but he has his utility uses, I would say. Very good point filler for sealed.
Compared to Scroll Spy, a way better team player and like support piece. Not really support piece, but he brings in shield. He can power action boost damage. It's still one of like the few ways that you can boost damage outside of enhancement for range. So does do something. Next up, 004 is Captain Marvel. She's got 7 range. She's got two point lines, so 130 or 70. They're roughly the same, just depends on dial length that you want. So this is one of the power commons where if you just pull garbage rares and you really need one of your commons to be like the big beat stick, you might play this at 130. I don't see any play competitively whatsoever. Her dial just does not impress me in that aspect, but inside of sealed, a 12 for 4 with Pen Psi, Energy Explosion, Quake, all like top dial and 4 damage outwit. She's probably going to outrange most stuff in the set. If you manage to pull her and a Kree Soldier, you get for like 8 range, potentially 5 damage. There's plenty of stuff to like about this figure in sealed. And then at the 70-point line, like maybe you pull 2 of them, because that's definitely possible. 2 at 70 would be a pretty decent team, especially with that cosmic energy being able to roll to like remove tokens. But no, it's just a fairly generic Captain Marvel. We've seen better versions of Carol Danvers, but yeah, I think in sealed you might see it shine. Anything else, it might be like a fun casual night piece to build like Kree with or Soldier.
I think
Who
like
knows?
Battle Royale is a pretty high pick for a BR. Like definitely. You know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's like a
This might
great.
outweigh most like rares for
Oh,
BRs,
definitely, yeah.
just because that high line.
Next up, we have Zavin. Super simple. No traits, no nothing. Scrolls TA, 4 range, 2 targets. Means this running shot energy explosion figure is really tough to use. Zavin is if you need a flyer in sealed, then sure, I guess. But 50 points for only 4 range. Running shot energy explosion. Great down dial. If having a she, I can't remember. Or is this a dude? I always forget. I thought
I
there was
honestly
something
have
weird
no idea
with
when it
what
comes to
they.
scrolls.
Okay, well, Zavin here, whoever it is like okay, is like great tie up down dial, but up dial really rough. You Zavin. Yeah, in sealed, I'd be like try to find anything else if you can. Like this is if you absolutely have to put 50% of your team. Casual, I mean bad, meta terrible. Like what I mean. So yeah, Zavin here is just real bad, really bad.
If the dial was reversed, I'd be a little bit like a 50-50 shape change with super senses and plasticity.
If the dial and stats were reversed, right? Like the powers and
Sure.
stats, like the stats were the
And
same,
11 blades, yeah.
same, and then it was an 11 blades, even with plasticity top dial, with the 50-50 shape change and then super senses. I would be like, yeah, sure, let's go for it. But no, I agree.
Yeah. Next up is Fantastic Four blue suited Spider-Man. Man, we don't get enough Spider-Mans that have in-cap top dial. But here's another one with plain old traded super senses. So Spider-Man, this might be like one of the few outwits that you pull. So that's worth it in sealed. Casually and competitively, we have way better Spider-Man. Like even for 65 points or like less, we have way better options if that's like what you're building with. I do like the combo of the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man team abilities, and especially in like this set, you might pull like a Kree soldier, and be able to copy that shield team ability with Spider-Man here. But this is a high point investment for that like no printed defense top dial.
Yeah.
And then like just the 17. So if you miss super senses or if your opponent outwits super senses, this Spider-Man's kind of sunk. I don't know. I want to like it for sealed. I just whenever I've put like a high point outwit piece on my team, it's never really done. It's never really pulled a lot of like work.
Yeah.
But yeah, only 5 range, 2 lightning bolts. I don't think it's that great in sealed. And casually and competitively, like I said, I would just pick a different one.
Yeah, no, I agree. This Spider-Man is really rough, really high point costed for what he does. Next up here though, Wolverine. I like this Wolverine a lot. Fantastic Four Wolverine's a blue suit team player, so he's wild card. 2 bolts at close. 75 points is a little high, you would think, but I think for what his dial is, he's great. Number one, a Wolverine with invulnerability, very cool top dial. So whenever he doesn't have invuln, he's at least a 17 with combat reflexes. And when he does have invuln, he's an 18, which I really, really like defensive wise. He's a Charge Blades exploit. So far, he is like the second figure in the common slot that can do penetrating damage. So that's really good, something to keep of note. Then for 6 clicks long, and like I said, solid defenses. He gets flurry on the back half of his dial, charge on the front half. Has traded regen, and he has regen is free if he has 2 action tokens, which I think can be really a pain in the butt for your opponent to take this guy down. So I really like this Wolverine in a sealed, casual, and battle royale environment. I think he's a really fun Wolverine.
For like a quarter of your build, he's got a 6 speed, like effective range. And Blades is always like one of those powers where regardless of if it's pen damage or not, it's not something you really want your opponent to have, because the random chance of them just dishing out 6 all of a sudden is pretty bad. But yeah, I do like this guy. I don't know how much I'd want to play him in sealed, but yeah, like Calder said, a pen damage 75-point piece with decent values and longevity, pretty solid. Human Torch for 5 points less. So Human Torch here, 70 points. Avengers and Fantastic Four team abilities. I feel like we can just stop pretending like Avengers team ability does anything, because unless it's like a dedicated taxi, it really doesn't. So he's got 8 range, 1 lightning bolt, plenty of keywords to play around with. So there's Fantastic Four, Spider-Man family, Avengers, probably the biggest ones. And then the first rally die that we see. So this is a red rally 4, which is opposing attack rolls. When Human Torch hits, you may remove his rally die to deal penetrating damage. So pretty decent. I think in X-Men Rise and Fall, we saw rally dies kind of like stack up a little bit quicker than what we were expecting. At least I did. And with this 8 range, being able to outrange most people, an effective range of 13 squares, being able to like get this rally die and then punch something 11 for 3 pen would be pretty awesome. And yeah, it's a solid 70-point range combat piece, and you really want to stay at range because he's got that 20 top dial. The down dial, because he does have a 35-point line, equally decent. I don't know if I'd ever take the 35-point piece off the bat. Like if I had better range pieces and I was just making like a tertiary, like needed to fill out points, I just don't like the sidestep with like the 8 range. I really like the running shot top dial. But for 35 points, equally okay. And I guess for 35 points, at least you get use out of the Fantastic Four team ability. You'll probably be able to heal someone else up with that.
I would like the 35 more if he had starting enhancement. That would be like, I would probably choose the 35 every time, just as a 11 speed, 12 speed flyer, actually. So he would be quite a bit 1 speed faster on his lower dial with sidestep, you know. Then if he had enhancement, then I'd be like, great utility piece in sealed. Yeah, and another pen blast. So our third penetrating character here in the common section.
Yeah.
Next up is Storm. She's X-Men. She is also the 35-point line. She also has a 35-point line. She has 7 range. She has a rally 5, red rally 5, and it's free. Remove the die. If you do this turn, a friendly character begins a move within her range. They can use improved movement elevated for that movement, which is kind of neat. Crazy, but depending on the map, it can really help you out. So this is a very thing. I think the biggest thing for her is that she is a stealth super senses flight character with 10 speed. So, you know, you can fly out, drop her in stealth, carry somebody, and she can block line of fire in seal. Like that's what she's probably gonna be the best at. She has a special attack power, which is energy explosion with knockback. However, it's not great. She's still a 10 for 3, but no movement attack, no sidestep means she's a little rough. But I do think she is a very solid first turn taxi. Outside of that, it'll be a little hard finding better uses for Storm here.
No, it's a super situational rally thing. I think the more offensive and defensive ones, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it's flavorful. The sculpt is cool. I like a lot of stuff about this figure. In sealed, it'll probably pull its point weight. I don't see anything constructed that it's going to add to the table. Same with, I should have mentioned that about Human Torch. Constructed wise, he doesn't really add anything that previous Human Torches didn't have, other than, I guess, the rally. 30-point Jean Grey. Oh boy. Speaking of things that don't add anything to existing characters. So 30 points. I should be excited about a 30-point X-Men character, because you can use that cheap character to heal up other X-Men that are more impressive. But Jean Grey here has 6 range, mind control for the speed power, red rally 5, free remove Jean Grey's red rally die. I don't know, I keep saying red rally die, but remove Jean Grey's rally die. If you do this turn, when Jean Grey hits, after resolutions, deal each hit character 1 pen damage. That would be cool, but I don't see a way that you can hit multiples. Like, especially, well, definitely not in sealed. You could do some tricks in competitor, like constructed, to give her multiple like targets and stuff like that. But no, she's a fine piece in sealed because you've got top dial enhancement, so you're boosting your damage. That's really all she's going to be bringing to the table. Without any move and attack, that mind control is rarely going to be something that like pops off in a way that really matters. For 30 points, you don't really need it to. If you're lucky enough to pull an X-Men theme team in this set, I guess like, you know, you've got a lot going for you by adding her to the team. But yeah, I don't see her rally die really mattering a whole lot either. I think her main takeaway is going to be that enhancement. Pretty decent in sealed just because of that 30 point, like that cheap little boost to damage if you pull some decent range attackers. But other than that, I think we've had better Jean Greys. I just like, well, I know we have.
Agree, yeah.
Wasn't it 30 points for the Age of Apocalypse, like the down dial Age of Apocalypse chase?
Oh, the TK one, maybe.
Yeah. It was something
Might have been.
cheap
I
like
don't
that,
remember.
but yeah.
Yeah, like 30, 40 or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, in sealed, she's 30-point enhancement. BR. I'm sorry that if it's a BR, she's probably got passed all the way back to you.
Yeah.
Like really,
There's no
way.
There's a chance that it's like the second to last like thing that you grab.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably not like
yeah.
first or second.
Beast here, he's a charge, empower, super senses, Avengers, X-Men figure. Triple bolts though when he attacks that close, which is pretty cool. He's an 11 for 3 top dial. Improved movement, ignores elevated terrain. Very solid with Beast here. And then when he is carried, no other friendly character has been placed this turn. After resolutions, he gets to make a close attack using his printed combat values. So he gets a if you have a Storm or whoever on your team, you can move up 10 squares, pretty crazy reach, and then he gets to just be an 11 for 3 printed combat value attack, which is pretty solid with old Beastie here. So
with triple bolts, so
triple bolts, yeah.
Somebody like rolls out or whatever, you still have options.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he's a very solid 55 points. I think is fine for a charge figure like this, especially a pseudo alpha charge figure, which is pretty sweet. So
yeah,
I like it. Yeah,
a potential
sealed anyways.
Yeah, sealed alpha, which isn't super common. Like, don't always get. Sometimes you do, but like, yeah, I think he's decent for 55. Like 20 points less than Wolverine. He actually combos with Wolverine pretty well. He combos with any of the flyers that we've talked about pretty well as well. But next up is the Common Rogue for 60 points. I don't even know what to say about this. So she does have flight. So once again, Avengers, X-Men for 60 points. You've got a decent taxi. You have okay values. I don't know why Rogue always gets these top dial 10s. It's just kind of, I guess, whatever. Like she has the same power as Captain Marvel, like essentially not. Well, I shouldn't say she has the same. She has some of Captain Marvel's like essence, so she should like pack a little bit more of a punch. She has traded steel energy, and when she hits after resolutions, you can choose a printed combat value on one of the hit targets. If you do, until you choose again, replace the same combat value on Rogue with the chosen value. So I don't really know who you're hitting, that you're getting a better, like maybe you're getting like an 11 attack. I guess if you like send her to like tie up like their big hitter, maybe you're getting like a 12 attack. She's already got an 18 defense top dial. The cool thing though is that she does keep whatever combat value she takes, even when she gets like knocked off of top dial or whatever. So if you hit somebody and you get like a 19 defense somehow, she'll keep that 19 throughout her dial, which is pretty cool. For 60 points, I think she's solid and sealed. She's not going to be like my first pick, but if I'm building an Avengers or X-Men theme team, she's a solid threat. She can kind of like bust up little like groups of people and stuff like that. And then she does have some staying power with the steel energy. Not a ton, but a little.
Next up, we have the Thing here. So 50 points, Charge Quake, Empower piece. He's got Fantastic Four and the Guardians team abilities. Guardians, just a quick refresher for those of you guys, since it is a new team ability. His combat values can't be modified by opposing characters. Like, that's pretty solid. And then he has a trait which characters that start the game on your force that have the Guardian team ability gain the Fantastic Four team ability. So for the handful of other Guardians, they will also get the Fantastic Four team ability thanks to Thing here. Sealed and Battle Royale wise, he is a fine enough, 10 speed, 11 attack, 3 damage, charge piece. He does only have an 18 toughness to protect himself. So be a little weary of that. So he's like an okay close attacker. He's certainly not the best. So
he's got better stats than Rogue for 10 points less, though.
He does. Yeah, crazy.
I mean,
but yeah,
at least attack wise, then he's got the same speed and defense. But no, I would love this guy if his trait was reversed. If it was characters that had the Fantastic Four team ability gained the Guardians, that would make him like a constructed
really good. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Especially because of the whole Fantastic Four swap ability, so I could just give him all the team ability and then get rid of this garbage guy. But no, in Sealed, he's definitely worth the 50 points because of the Empower top dial, the decent stats, his whole dial, and the Guardian's team ability is pretty decent. Not gonna lie, I like it. Next up is She-Hulk. We've kind of already talked about her. Really cool sculpt. I'm kind of impressed with the amount of detail they have, at least in the digital rendering. For 40 points in Sealed, she's a 5-speed charge with a 12 for 4. And as long as your opponent doesn't have a ton of outwit or pen damage, that Impervious might hold up. Again, we've already talked about her, but if she's targeted with Mind Control, she modifies her defense by -2, which potentially, we've only seen, one Mind Control piece so far, could potentially give your opponent a little bit of a leg up. I don't see anything competitive coming out of this figure. I think 40 points is too high for the short dial length, but casually, this is a great Avengers, Brute, Cosmic, Monster, Warrior. Yeah, I just really like all the options that you get for 40 points. Something that I wouldn't feel bad running 2 or 3 of these in some sort of casual setting where I could drop them off and make my opponent deal with them.
Yeah, no, for sure. I do like her a lot, especially, it sucks how low her dial is, how short it is, but besides that, no. Anome here, which we've also talked about. Simeon talked about her, covered her a few podcasts ago. 40 points, 5 range. She's a 9 attack, 2 damage, sidestep. And Sealed, depending on the sidekicks you pull, and I guess the sidekicks in this set don't have Outwit, Perplex, and then may have teamed Prob, but not if you're on a team with her, so never mind. She's basically, don't even look at her in Sealed unless you need a 40-point Perplex. Outwit, because the only other Outwit was a 65.1 with Spider-Man. So if you're hurting for an Outwit, then I'd say throw on your Sealed team. Besides that, I don't see her doing much competitively, but casually, I think with a sidekick team, Valeria has Perplex, I believe, stuff like that. She can be very fun, Yeah. But besides that, Aname, 17 defense with nothing is really rough.
Yeah, if you're playing this figure, it's because you either didn't pull enough pen damage, or you're afraid of the scrolls with the 50/50 shape change, or some other rollout kind of thing. If you didn't pull anyone with some sort of penetrating damage, then this is worth it. Because getting rid of Impervious is pretty important. The amount of times I would have hit someone for 4 or 5, but they made their Impervious roll really sucks. But yeah, I think it's okay for 40. Constructed, it'll probably see more play than it doesn't fit, like Kalder said, it doesn't fit almost any of the builds that you'd get in Sealed, but it is what it is. Next up is the Scroll Black Bolt. So 75 points, 6 range, one of the lower range, high costed pieces that we've seen. So for 75 points, you get Running Shot top dial. You have the trait Hidden in Plain Sight. When Black Bolt occupies clear terrain, opposing characters that didn't begin their turn within 6 squares of Black Bolt can't draw line of fire to him, which is pretty decent. That keeps him protected for quite a while. An effective range of 12, your opponent has to start the turn within 6, or they can't outwit, shoot, like all that kind of stuff. He does only have toughness, but top dial, you've got that 50-50 shape change, so that should keep him around for a little while. And then his whole dial, he has engineered Sonic Scream. So this is free, choose one this turn, energy explosion with 3 targets, or penetrating psychic blast. And it's that simple. Probably going to go with penetrating psychic blast most of the time, but there might be some times where triple target energy explosion can spread out like, I don't know, just a ton of damage. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the best ranged attackers, right up there with like Human Torch, one of the best in the common slot, just because you do have pen damage available the whole dial. You have some protection from range for quite a while. Yeah, he's probably going to hit first in most circumstances. It just kind of depends on how quick your opponent, like if your opponent pulls a TK and has like a decent close combat piece. Luckily, you don't have to worry about outwit if they didn't begin this within 6 squares of him, and there's no Battle Fury in this set, so his shape change should hold most of the time.
Unbenching shape change, not
Yeah.
unbenching Battle Fury. Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It is only a coin flip, but when it's 50-50, it feels like so much.
Oh, dude, it hurts.
Yeah.
Next up, our last common, Invisible Woman, Avengers, Fantastic Four, 6 range, 2 targets, 50 points, and the first prob in this entire set. Let's go. A 50-point prob, ladies and gentlemen, and that is the only one we've seen so far in the commons.
It's paying a premium for it.
Yeah, she has no flight, sadly. She does, however, have stealth. Quake, she has an 18 defend top dial. So, 18 defend isn't nothing. Actually pretty solid. If you've noticed how many figures we said, they have a 17, they have a 17, they have a 17, whatever, 18 defend is, a regular defend, but it's good for this set, especially, honestly, the next couple figures we'll be talking about here in the uncommons all have 17s or lower, so 18 defend is very solid. Rally is free. Remove her rally die. It's 4 on opposing attack rolls. If you do, until your next turn, Invisible Woman can't be targeted by opposing characters. That's pretty gnarly. I kind of like that a lot because of, like we've seen, rally dies tend to stack up, and not being able to be targeted at all by opposing characters with no downside, like she can't be targeted and then she can't make attacks. Like, no, you might just have a 50 point, can't be targeted by prob, outwit, perplex, with attacks, with anything character on your team permanently, depending on how far in the game we are. Like, dude, she is awesome.
Yeah.
In a BR pick, she might be a first snag because she probably won't die. She's got prob.
I don't think we've mentioned this, but in BRs, rally dies stack up, like especially the opposing rally dies, because you have three opponents in battle royal. So if you, she wouldn't be my first pick in a battle royal by any stretch, but if you do get past this piece, by turn like 3, you might just have like an endless supply of she can't be targeted.
If she does somehow get damaged and not totally killed all the way, she will be a sidestep energy explosion with 6 range, 2 targets. Potentially, like I said, can't be targeted at all. I really like this woman for sealed and for battle royales. Outside of that, I think she's fun casually. I don't think she'll necessarily see competitive play because she is a really high point value. She doesn't really do a ton. But I do like her for this set sealed.
Yeah, I do think you pay a little bit of a premium for top dial prob. But 3 damage the whole dial is better than some of the things we've seen for right around the same points. So yeah, solid piece to build with. Next up, our first uncommon is going to be Golden Oldie herself. It's May Riley Parker. So Golden Oldie has some stuff going for it. The biggest problem is your opponent can essentially just ignore this piece. For 45 points, it's not a huge chunk of the game that they're trying to win. If they're trying to table you, they might have some issue, but Golden Oldie has Barrier as free, but only to generate 1 marker, which is fine. Almost full dial of Phasing Teleport and Super Senses. And then just like the classic, I go through every support power kind of dial, so you start with prob. Yeah. For 45 points, you do get prob, so there is that. Your opponent probably doesn't want to attack Golden Oldie unless they can sync multiple attacks in the same turn, because you do hit a stop click where you all of a sudden are a 12 for 3, and if they can't finish Golden Oldie off, then it's going to be kind of rough, because so when you do hit the stop click, you get Cosmic Wheat Cakes for everyone. Power heal all other characters within 3 squares 1 click. That includes opposing characters. So if you do choose to use that rather than shooting an opposing character 12 for 3 with Psychic Blast, then just make sure you're not within 3 of an opposing character that can be healed. That power is cool. Like I said, I don't see your opponent hitting her to this on purpose unless they're planning on finishing her off in the same turn. Hopefully her Super Senses holds out. The thing I really dislike about this figure is without any pushing damage available, there's no way to get to like Outwit or Empower like reliably at all. So it is, in my opinion, just that prob control top dial and then a stop click. I don't see the powers in like the middle actually really being a factor.
Not consistently anyways, yeah.
No. And
Yeah,
her Cosmic Energy, like, so she is a decent taxi, but the Cosmic Energy willpower roll is almost worthless because she's an 8 for 1 her entire dial until she gets that bottom click. So it's like, what are you doing that takes an action token? You're just like still like phasing around constantly, tying people up, I guess.
See, tying up. Like, she's
Yeah.
a solid tie-up piece, you know? Next up here, Rocket Raccoon, 50 points, 6 range, 2 targets, Guardians TA. It's a running shot, energy explosion, 17 defense, full dial of leadership. Not a ton of leadership so far in this set. So, and then, yeah, super senses, and then last click he had regen. So a little energy explosion, little 50-point attacker here. His follow-up, though, is free once per turn for all characters with a follow-up trait. Make an attack using Rocket Raccoon's printed combat values, but only to target a single character hit with an attack made by another friendly character with Guardians of the Galaxy keyword. Takes a little bit to pull off here in Sealed since there aren't a ton of Guardians in it. But, you know, besides that, if we're just looking at this dude face value, he's a running shot, energy explosion, leadership figure. So, you know, leadership is probably the biggest thing he brings to the table. Besides that, he is like, okay, I guess. But fun sculpt, you know, little suit Rocket Raccoon is pretty fun. It's a different look for Rocket, so I am happy about that at least. I definitely play him with Howard the Duck.
Yeah, it does kind of remind me of Howard for some reason. Maybe it's the animal in clothes kind of thing. I don't know. Yeah. For 50 points, yeah, it is an attacker for 1/6 of like your sealed build. So next up is Cyclops, also 50 points. 7 range, 2 lightning bolts, sidestep with 11 for 3 top dial, and then moves on to running shot for the rest of the dial. The middle 2 clicks 3 and 4, you've got energy explosion with enhancement. The last 2 clicks you have psychic blast, and then clicks 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 you have special damage power that is leadership. When Cyclops uses it, if he is on an X-Men themed team, increases leadership roll by 1. That's fine. This is a decent casual build piece. It's only got Starjammers, X-Factor, and X-Men. I really don't care for sidestep range pieces in sealed or constructed, really. The 7 range is decent, but honestly, if you're playing him, you're just playing him for the leadership, and that's about it. You're probably not even X-Men themed in most sealed situations, but like if you do manage to be an X-Men theme, it's probably a little bit better because you do have like a 50-50 leadership role at that point. But yeah, I wish it was leadership, and instead of increasing it, it was leadership enhancement, because that would actually make him real good, like real solid and sealed. Constructed, I don't know. I guess he's fun casual piece. I just usually prefer Cyclops to have like running shot top dial is all.
Yeah, for sure. He has like a very weird like section type dial to him. I wish his middle 2 clicks were his starting clicks, and his starting ones were his middle 2, honestly, even with leadership not being top dial. Like, you know, his last 2 obviously would be like the strongest starting idea here, but that is what.
Yeah.
Next
he does
up,
have improved targeting hindering, so that also is
that is something.
It's not nothing.
Yeah. So we have Billy, Hey, Billy, we got Wiccan here. Mystics, team player, wild card. Cool. 6 range, 1 bolt, 50 points. They don't like making people much less than 50 points unless they have multiple starting lines.
Yeah.
He is another prob piece, full dial of prob, 5 clicks long, full dial of phasing, flight, 10 speed, top dial. It's okay. 11 attack with Pen Blast is very solid. Once again, he'll need a TK or something because he has no movement attack, but that is very good, very solid on his own. Then he has a special defense his entire dial, which is ESD. Adjacent friendly characters modify defense +1 if they can use a team ability that Wiccan can use. And Wiccan being a team player, pretty solid. I like this Wiccan in sealed.
Yeah.
Won't be able to use his Pen Blast crazy well, but a full dial of prob and a full dial of +1 team ability or +1 defense for friendly characters that can also use team abilities he can use. I don't know if there's any other mystics, but him being a wild card means he can copy scrolls, shield, Avengers, Guardians, whatever, and give them a +1 defense. So that can be really, or Avengers, like that, or sorry, Fantastic Four, that can be really, really good. So I think team building wise, you kind of have to look at what you pull, but I still think 50-point prob, that potential Pen Blast you can pull off. I think he's solid and sealed.
Yeah, I think I can't remember what the figure from AI was that also had. It was like 100 points, but it was also phasing, Psychic Blast, and Prob. And it was like surprisingly decent, but that figure was also, I think, like Power Cosmic or something. But no, comboed with Invisible Woman, copy like Fantastic Four. Invisible Woman defends an 18 to Wiccan, so then he's a 20 from range, and she's a 19 because he gives her a +1. Like, pretty easy to combo. Constructed wise, if you pull well or even just like okay, I think he's worth putting on your team. I always think a 50-point prob piece is worth it regardless of what else they're bringing to the table, because in sealed it really comes down to mostly dice rolls and sealed. That and just pulling like something crazy sometimes. Next up is Braun, another scroll. So nope, this is Amadeus Cho. Another
green
uncommon
people
is
look
what
the same to you, Simeon?
Kind of.
Ow.
It's not Hulk anymore. So for 75 points, another team player. So Braun here, Amadeus Cho, has a special attack and special damage power top dial. So you've got a charge toughness for the first 3 clicks with 10 speed charge. Pretty generic kind of like little charge range. 2 lightning bolts. Got plenty of keywords. And then the special attack power is when Braun hits until your next turn, each hit character gains immobile, and it modifies defense -1. Would be really cool if that was comboed with Quake that you get later in the dial, but that's fine. You can still target 2 characters, modify defense, and give immobile out. That's pretty cool. And then you have Close Combat Expert and Outwit as a special damage power. So you'll be a 12 for 4 top dial, and then an 11 for 4 for the next 2 clicks. Down dial, still pretty decent. You go from toughness to invulnerability. The values go down a bit, but you still get Close Combat Expert, so you're still an 11 for 4, and then a 10 for 4, and then finally a 10 for 3, and those last 4 clicks have Sidestep. Not my favorite 75-point piece, but I think it combines a solid attacker with a little bit of team synergy. So Amadeus here can hand out a -1 defense to people, making them easier to hit, and then outwit them to make, short work of like a character. If you have like, a decent setup where you can do some follow-up attack kind of stuff, I think it's fine. And then of course, team player lends plenty of options. So it's not going to be my first 75-point piece to like build around, but if I'm missing like some key ingredients in my sealed soup, then it's definitely an option I'll take. Outside of sealed, I don't see myself using this at all. It's a decent casual piece, like don't get me wrong, but for 75 points, I never want to see like toughness as my only defensive power. Like just seems sad.
No, the toughness part is definitely the grossest part about this guy, where you're just like, ugh, if it wasn't that. If it was invul top dial, changes my tune. Don't get me wrong, I still like that he can be a 12 for 5. dial with his close combat expert and outwit. Like, that is awesome. You know, he can rock someone's world right away. He's Avengers, Fantastic Four, great keywords for this set. Obviously, those are the two main keywords of the set. Well, I guess I would argue that X-Men is really the main keyword of the set, but still, like, I do like this guy as a sealed pick if you can keep him safe and then let him, do his thing. But yeah. Next up, Raxor here. A great, amazing free range. 70 points, 45 points, scrolls, team ability. He is also a leadership, so another 45-point, cheaper leadership. He is a captain. Trait, infiltration fails attack. When a friendly sidekick rolls for shape change after resolutions, you may move that sidekick 2 squares. So by that, he means if a friendly scroll sidekick rolls for shape change and fails, then you can move them. Helps him out a little bit. But something to note, he is a charge flurry piece. So I don't know if I'd pay the 70 points just to have an 11 attack, 18 defense, because he still only has a 2 damage that entire dial, but he has blades, so it's kind of fine. But yeah, I would say strong contender here for a solid little figure for 45 points. A charge flurry leadership is pretty darn nice. With he's very rough in the defense area. He's got 0 defense powers, and he only has a 6 on shape change defensively on his top dials, which is rough. And then he goes on a stealth with normal shape change, which is nice. But for like a big maybe, if you really need a secondary attacker, not even really a secondary attacker, if you need like a tertiary attacker at 45 points, or maybe if you really need a leadership, then put Raxor on your team.
Yeah.
But he's not great. He is the only charge flurry we've seen so far. That doesn't mean he's good.
Yeah. I think if you're planning on hitting those shape change clicks, he's going to like kind of go to like point denial at that point because he's not dishing out a ton of damage. But if you have him in stealth and he's got a 50-50 shape change with toughness, you've got some like point denial where you're kind of keeping him from getting killed. But yeah, that I don't know. It's 25 points more for essentially just an 11 attack because the blank defense means you're going to get hit to the 45-point line pretty quick. But yeah, maybe he takes someone with him before he goes, I guess. For 35 points, up next is number 024 in the set, Dazzler. So Dazzler gives you 2 team abilities. So if you have any team players, you get the options of Shield and X-Men through Dazzler. 6 range, 2 lightning bolts with running shot top dial, and an 11 attack with the blinding flash power. That is, when Dazzler hits with a ranged attack, choose one to last until your next turn. Hit target can't use improved targeting, or hit target modifies range -3. So the range -3 is probably the better one. This is the only thing that her attack power does, so she's not dishing out a ton of damage usually. But for 35 points, I don't really care to even make attacks with her if I don't have to. She also has a trait, during force construction, choose up to 2 friendly characters that share a keyword with Dazzler, and choose either Shield team ability or X-Men team ability. The chosen characters can use the chosen team ability this game. Her keywords being Celebrity, Excalibur, Exiles, Mojoverse, Shield, X-Factor, and X-Men. I think it's pretty cool and sealed because you can potentially, depending on what else you pull, you can potentially give 2 other characters Shield team ability, and then have her with Shield team ability. She's got enhancement, so you could easily boost someone +3 damage and +3 range just because you pulled this 35-point piece. She's a solid attacker, but like attack-wise, she's solid. It's just her damage isn't great, but I guess she herself could be bumped up to like a 5 damage with the 2 Shield team abilities that or I guess 4. Yeah, because she's only making 2 people.
Gosh, Simeon, you're leading our listeners down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Turning us into cheaters. Could you?
Defensively, she's just got a 19 from range, 17 from close, and goes down to a 16. So she's okay. You're going to lose this 35 points at some point. I definitely wouldn't use her as like an alpha to be like, haha, I hit these 2 characters and modify their range by -3. That's not going to be a great defensive strategy. But no, her potential damage and range boosting output because of her trait and her powers is pretty decent.
I think she might be my favorite, depending on polls, might be my favorite like support figure in this whole set. That enhancement shield TA. If you're like a range heavy team, she can like really, it'll be like the glue that holds it together. Like that's awesome with
Oh, yeah.
shield TA and everything. Like I love that.
Yeah, she's definitely
great.
fun to carry around with.
Next up, we have Iron Man, Tony Stank here. Very simple, 75 or 45. I myself, leaning toward the 45 because he's just a running shot, entire dial, energy explosion the first 4 clicks, and his first click of his 45-point line. He's a 7-click long dial, so neat enough, I suppose. He has ESD and toughness as his special defense power, his entire dial with some 18s and 17s in there, and his last 3 clicks as he's a running shot, energy explosion, so yeah, it was good. Besides that though, I'm probably leaning toward the 45-point line because he's still an 11 for 3 there. He just takes 1 down on his defense, 1 down on his speed, but flight figure, Avengers, Guardians, Shield, keywords. So yeah, I think 7 range. I think he's a fine, whatever, sealed like range attacker here. Little dude. He's fine.
Yeah, the difference between
Much
the 18 and 17 defense is almost the price of adding Dazzler to your team. So
yeah,
I agree. 45 points is probably, if you're going to play him, I mean, unless you just pulled nothing else, but even then, like, if you pulled nothing else, that 75-point line isn't great filler. It's 3 clicks of toughness. And if your opponent isn't punching him, then I guess they're having a hard time shooting him. But next up is Loki. So this is going to be one of the
Loki.
Yeah, this is going to be one of the. It's like Rent Loki.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
He's got that Brooklyn pose. I don't know. This is going to be one of the few figures that I rate higher outside of sealed because you kind of want multiples, and so I mean that speaks for itself. So 60 points, you've got a Mystics team ability, you've got stealth with prob, blades, toughness. That's his first 2 clicks. Click 3, you go on to sidestep, blades, super senses with prob, and then you move on to mind control, poison, toughness, outwit. And then finally, back to sidestep, blades, super senses, and prob. I actually really do like the combo of mind control, poison, outwit, because you can mind control an opposing character, move them up to you, outwit their defense, and then poison all in the same turn. Other than that, I really hate the top dial of stealth, blades, all that kind of stuff. But he does have a rally die trait, so it is for all attack rolls. Free, remove a rally die to place Loki in any square within 2 squares. If you did, generate a Loki on click 9 in the square that he last occupied. If Loki started the game on click 9, he can't gain a rally die and has 0 point value for all effects. I really like this rally trait because it's for all attack rolls. You'll have plenty of 2s. You'll be able to do this pretty much every turn after like the first couple attacks start landing. And then once you start generating these other Lokis, so this is completely for like casual building and competitive building, potentially competitive building, I don't really know, I guess, but spitting out just a ton of 0 point, essentially bystanders there. His click 9 is a 9 attack blades, no movement power, 16 with super senses, and then prob. Just spitting out a ton of prob for free every turn, like you get 1 prob per turn. I'm assuming you're going to get like a couple of these rally dies pretty quick. And then once you start getting some of these guys kicked out, you can just start making more and getting more rally dies because you can prob the rolls and attack with these guys. But sadly in sealed, he's going to be just pretty much that top dial stealth prob because he won't be able to use these rally dies unless you somehow pull 2, in which case I actually would suggest putting 1 on your sideline if you pull 2, because you definitely don't really need 2 of these on the map. I don't think they bring a whole lot.
Yeah,
he does have
120
Mystics.
now.
I do wonder, so your opponent will also take Mystics from the generated one. So that's also, and that power is protected pulse wave. So yeah, I think that if you can generate them like multiple man, if you can generate this stuff, it's worth way more than playing 2 on the team. But yeah, that's mostly for a constructed kind of thing. So I think in sealed he's okay. He's kind of a premium for 60 points. I don't know.
Yeah. Next up, we have Agent May here. Shield team ability, 6 range, 2 targets, another 50-point figure. So first of all, speed power for her whole dial is charge and stealth. Defense power is combat reflexes with a great 18 top dial. So defensively, I really like her. However, she's a little rough. And attack-wise, she has incapacitate her whole dial with mostly 11s. She has 2 clicks of 10 there for a bit. And then, she has 3 damage with leadership for her first 3 clicks. And then she has outwit on her last 3 clicks. She ignores hindering terrain for line of fire. So she's kind of solid. I don't hate her. I think she's really good in sealed. She can be a very solid sealed pick if you don't have any leadership and everything. She does have the recruiter trait. I will read it all the way out, even though I don't think you'll ever use this in sealed, but it's power. Choose a character with the shield keyword in your KO area that hasn't been chosen for the generated by a recruiter effect. If you do, generate a character with the shield keyword from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen KO'd character. This game, the generated character can't be replaced, and your opponent scores him immediately instead of when it's KO'd. This isn't good. This is bad.
Yeah.
I think maybe if it's like a crazy high point shield character, even then it's like then you just hand your opponent a ton of points, so even though
to
have like a
activate,
crazy
you already
beast.
have to have lost something, and then you're instantly, whatever you're bringing in, your opponent is instantly scoring it. So yeah, it's like, do you want to bring in something low costed? Like, is that even going to benefit you? Do you want to bring in something high costed and then hopefully offset the points that you just handed to your opponent?
I mean, stealth combat reflex is 20 defense from close.
Yeah.
Bad. That part's not bad. I just don't think recruiter is going to be all in seal. Even in constructed,
Yeah.
I don't really like the recruiter ability, honestly.
Yeah, it seems kind of like a way to expedite the Krakoan revival, like giving your opponent points.
Yeah.
It's not a great trade-off. It's actually kind of a bad trade-off. But no, I think for 50 points, she is a solid piece in sealed. 20 defense from close and has stealth. That's pretty solid. And an 11 for 3 isn't nothing. Like, if you can stay in hindering and just keep whittling away at somebody, that's pretty solid. Next up is Wasp. Wasp also has 2-point lines, so for 60 points, you're going to get 3 more whole clicks, and that's essentially going to give you a top dial of a 12 attack. Otherwise, the only real difference is I think defense stat goes down for 40 points. So for 20 points, you get 1 more attack value top dial and a little bit more defense, which might make a difference because she does have tiny size. So she's running shot, psychic blast, her first 4 clicks, which is both starting lines, 2 damage for all 4 of those first clicks, and then once she gets to click 5, she goes to her dial suddenly swaps to sidestep, energy explosion, and super senses for the rest of her dial. She's tiny size with flight. She ignores characters for movement. She is a captain, and then her captain ability is free. Choose a friendly sidekick. That sidekick has shield team ability this turn. She also has shield team ability. I really like this Wasp for 40. I think if you pull if you're in sealed and you pull what was like a Nome, Kree Soldier, Scroll Spy, the few sidekicks that we've seen, if you pull one of those, this Wasp is worth it for 40, giving you an extra shield team ability. Herself, she's only got 5 range, 2 lightning bolts, but I think for 40 points, bringing shield team ability, a little bit of pen damage, a decently long dial for 40 points, and she is an 18 from range, just because of that tiny size, so I think that's fine too.
Actually, I really like her too. I think 40 points is definitely the way to go. I think it comes down to what your points look like in sealed. If you just feel, you know what, I'd rather pay the extra for some more defense, for some whatever.
If her
Think
damage was
oh man,
3
3?
instead of
Yeah.
2 top dial, I would
Yeah,
definitely
I
pay
agree.
the extra 20. But
I hope if you pull this figure, if you pull Dazzler, then I think you're doing great. I'm just like, the more I look at this, there's a ton of shield keyword figures in this set. Oh my gosh.
yeah,
Like, wow, I'm
yeah,
impressed.
you can make you could probably make a shield team
10,
as
15
easy as an
figures of
X-Men.
shield keyword in the set ish, Anyways, a Quicksilver here. Simeon talked about him. 60 or 35 points. 7 click long at 60, 4 clicks at 35. He's got crazy charge. He has a 7-speed charge top dial, or he has a 6-speed charge top dial with a 14 and 12 speed respectively. He ignores characters, which is awesome. He's an 18 super senses and a 3 damage on both clicks. If you do pay the 60 for 25 more points, he'll have a +1 attack versus only a 10 attack on his lower dial. He also has traded sidestep, which is really awesome. Whenever he uses charge and hits after resolutions, you roll a d6 on a 4 through 6, +1 action until your next turn, and then you may place him in a square he occupied when given the action. So it's either or, which is pretty cool. And then his special attack power is when he uses charge and moves in a direct path, he has knockback, this action where he's just running straight at you. I like this Quicksilver. I think he's cool. I think, kind of depends on what you pull, but I think for 35 points, he's a very solid attacker. Honestly, if you just have a team that's full of like the 35 to 40 point characters we mentioned, and it's just a bunch of attackers, that can be pretty tough to take down in sealed.
Yeah.
So I do like this dude like a lot. If not, he's a top dial BR. He's pretty crazy, especially if he rolls that 4 through 6, because he can then move 9 squares, punch somebody,
in a
all
BR,
the way
he's
back.
a great way to snipe points away from someone.
But dude, super great. So I dig this Daredevil, Quicksilver. So
Yeah,
Avengers keyword potential and sealed. I like Daredevil too. Simeon will talk about Daredevil right now.
Yeah. Just like one last thing. Quicksilver picking up like a light object. Also, like for 35 points, if you can potentially dish out 4 damage, that's worth it. So next up is Daredevil, which we talked about him before. I didn't even brush on his 75 point line because I didn't think it was at all worth it. I still don't. So he's running shot with 4 range. Even with the amount of shield TA we have in this set, that's not great. 4 range triple lightning bolts. I don't like. He's one of the few characters where his speed value, after being halved, when his speed value after being halved, still outpaces his range. That's like, it's just bad. On top of that, he is a full dial of incapacitate. So I just don't like that. Spider-Man team ability. He has improved movement from elevated and characters, and then improved targeting through hindering. Again, like how often are you shooting with 4 range and running shot? He does have top dial outwit, so at least he'll be able to use the minimum value for range on that. But I really like his bottom dial. So for 25 points, you forego the running shot outwit stuff, and you get the cheapest prob in the set. The cheapest prob for a lot of the keywords listed, just period. Still 4 range, 3 lightning bolts. You get flurry with incapacitate. So this is like where I think he's real good. He also has traded stealth. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but traded stealth with combat reflexes I like way more than traded stealth with that top dial super senses. So he's a 19 from close with his own prob. He can dish out potentially 3 action tokens to an opposing character, or just flurry some small, like hopefully no reducer character for 2 damage. But like more importantly, like, Spider-Man team ability, he can copy shield, he can copy whatever, and he's just a stupid cheap prob piece in your uncommon slot. If you're lucky enough to pull like 2 of these, then hopefully your opponent has a plan, because he's really hard to hit, and he's just not even giving him that many points when he does go down.
Yeah. Pulling 2 would be hot in sealed.
In no circumstance do I ever play him at 75. Constructed, sealed, even if like I don't have enough points, I just prefer that bottom starting line, that combat reflexes prob. I don't care about the 11 for 3 damage and attack. Like, it would be okay if it was 50. I don't know, maybe that's a little too cheap. I don't know. But it's just, for 50-point difference, I feel like I'm getting way better price for 25 points.
Absolutely, definitely. Next up, we have Venom Cyclops here. He is terrible. I think he's real bad. He's 70 or 35 points. He running shot, 11 for 3 top dial on his half line. He's a 10 for 3, a 9 speed and 7 speed, respectively, with those running shots. Starts with ESD on both click lines, 3 damage the whole way through. Improved targeting, can shoot while based. He does have symbiotic fusion, which means he has traded plasticity and super senses. Fine, I guess. If Venom Cyclops is within 4 squares and line of fire of an opposing character, he can't be targeted by ranged attacks. Dang, that's so cool. Why the hell does he have ESD top dial then? What's the point of that? And then his special attack power is just knockback. This dude is bad. He is multi-level layers of bad. He is the worst range attacker we've seen so far in the set. And then he is like the worst half dial figure I think we've seen so far in the set. He is straight up garbage.
I think if I was going to vote on
so
worst
terrible.
special power, just blank knockback is probably the worst thing I want to see on an attack.
He might get my vote for worst figure if Empyre releases here in 2021. Like, dude, he's so freaking garbage. If you pull him, I would just take him out of the booster, put him on the ground, and then stomp him with your heel. Honestly, like,
I think
rip his card in half, throw him
for
away.
35 points, it's okay.
He has no redeeming quality, Simeon.
Well, for me, it's the within 4 squares in line of fire of an opposing character can't be targeted by range. That makes it a little bit like harder to take out these symbiotes. Effectively, he's just a tie-up piece outside of being like a 10 for 3, but that's pretty much it. Like, if you've pulled some of the shield team ability or like an enhancement, he's a little better, but he's still like, I would take 75-point Daredevil over the 70-point Venom Cyclops, just because like his dial ends up being better. Next up, number 032. It is Ghost Rider for 80 points and 40. Almost an even split, except no, it's not. So for 40 points, you get 4 clicks, start with an 8 speed, 11 attack, 18 invuln, and 2 damage close combat expert. For 40 more points, you get 3 clicks more, same attack value, you get a 10 speed charge, same defense value and invuln, and you get 1 more damage. So it's hardly worth it, but maybe, because he does have Mystics. So this Ghost Rider has a trait that is Spirit of Vengeance. Ghost Rider deals penetrating damage to characters with 2 action tokens. This would normally be really hard to pull off, but he does have improved movement through characters, so you can just like ignore opposing characters completely and charge through the line to get to someone that has 2 action tokens. I think you'll see this like happen more often than not with this character. I'm probably never playing him at 80 just because we've seen so many better things for right around the same amount. I don't even know if I'm ever playing him at 40. I think he's fine. Avengers, Shield, Mystical. I think he'll fit on plenty of teams and sealed.
Saying you're never going to play him.
No, I don't really. I think it's a fine figure. I just, like, for some reason, the Mystics Invuln just never plays out well for me. After Invuln, he goes to toughness on both dials. So if you play him at top dial and your opponent's not checking your card, they might hit him from Invuln back to Invuln. But more than likely, he's going to skip that like second invuln in his dial, which is fine. There's no invincible in the set, so Mystics does mean something. But in like casual, I'd rather play that Loki to get my Mystics damage in. I don't know. He just doesn't have the kind of flavor that I was hoping. The like Spirit of Vengeance just being like, you have 2 action tokens. I bet you feel really bad about that. This is my vengeance. Like, I don't know. It's just I don't get it. I don't get what the 2 action tokens. It should have been like any character that has damaged a friendly character this game, you deal pen damage to or something.
That'd be good. I mean, like how it is normally. Yeah.
Yeah, something like, I don't know.
Next up, we got my boy Beldan here. Do I know? Is he actually my boy? No, of course not. But he's shield, 6 range, 40 points, Kree soldier, roll take captain. He's running shot, pen blast, 17 toughness, 2 damage, leadership. Solid little dude. Unique modifier, free, choose a friendly sidekick. That chosen sidekick modifies attacking damage +1 this turn. I've talked about him before. Sealed, he's a solid enough running shot, pen blast, leadership. Cheapest leadership I think we've seen so far. So there's that for you. A running shot, full dial of pen blast is fine. Shield TA once again is fine for only 40 points. Like that's just great. Like I think Sealed, he's a solid pick. BR, a little rough of a pick, and then Constructed, if you're doing a cool sidekick team, yeah, I think he's fine. I think Beldan is just a pretty rounded-ish figure. I mean, for 40 points, he's fine. You know, he's not crazy, he's not competitive, he's not nuts, but he's just a fine little 40-point piece.
He does win costume I most want to cosplay. Next up is Jubilee. Yeah. Jubilee's got a 75-point line and a 35-point line. For 75 points, so this is one of the few characters that has a split that actually kind of makes a big difference. So her top dial for 75 points, she has a special attack power that she does not have on her 35-point line, except her last 2 clicks. So it is Disorienting Blast, Incapacitate. When she uses it to give action tokens after resolutions, hit characters can't use team abilities until your next turn. This is kind of interesting. I don't know how much power cosmic and stuff you're going to come around with. I don't know how many times it's going to be able to combo with like outwitting something. It can also get rid of like mystics and like stuff like that. So it's interesting. She also, top dial, has defend and leadership. So if those are 2 things that you're missing, then she's got that. She's 6 range, triple lightning bolt. So you can actually, strip team abilities away from up to like 3 characters potentially. For 35 points, she has enhancement, energy explosion, running shot, 18 defense, and then she goes to on clicks 6 and 7, her last 2 clicks, she goes to sidestep, and then again that special power, and then combat reflexes, which is an odd combo for a mostly range-based piece. She also has a rally die. It's a red 5, and then free, remove Jubilee's rally die. If you do, she can use probability control until your next turn. Solid pick for like 3rd round of Battle Royale. For 35 points, I'm definitely adding her to my team in Sealed, because that enhancement and that rally die giving her prob. So it's kind of an expensive rally, or kind of an expensive way to get prob, because you do have to choose who on your team gets the rally die, and we have seen some other rally 5s. But it's an okay. It's prob. Who doesn't like prob for 35 points? And top dial, I don't know. I think I've got to be hurting for options if I pick her as 75 points. A quarter of my build being defend with no reducers, and it's only an 18. It's not great. It does give me kind of like a pseudo ability to mess with like my opponent team if I hit enough people. She doesn't have the highest range. She's kind of an expensive leadership. She just is what she is at 75, and she's a real good option at 35.
No, definitely. I like the idea of either filling out points or, potentially doing the whole 18 defend leadership. Kind of depends what you pull, I think, in Sealed, but no reducer, no rollout is rough, which kind of makes me lean a little bit more towards, the 11 for 2 energy explosion, like at point line with the enhancement. But no, I think she. It's rare. Yo, we got freaking Taskmaster. So begins the era of 8-click captain. Taskmaster has all the keywords that you need in the set. Fantastic Four, Shield, good stuff. He doesn't have Avengers. Frightful 4, Frightful 4 meta coming in clutch here. 75 or 50, 6 range, 2 bolts, Hydra / team player, pretty good. Captain, what does he do? You choose a friendly sidekick and a displayed standard defense power that an opposing character adjacent to that sidekick can use. Chosen sidekick can use that power until your next turn. That's like okay. It's like okay, I guess. He's a bland running shot, ESD leadership on his top point lines. On his bottom point line, he's charge blades. Mastermind. He is very boring. He's very lame. He's not great. He's really not good. His whole sidekick thing is maybe like you plop your sidekick next to someone with impervious and be like, that's annoying. That's a very annoying 20 points. I think if you pull this Taskmaster, that scroll sidekick goes up in value a little bit. But besides that, just for good tie up. But like, dude, Taskmaster is so boring. He's so bland. He's just not good.
Compared to like all the other, like this would be the last Taskmaster I would ever build with if I wanted to play Taskmaster. If I wanted a captain and it didn't matter what their name was or anything else about them, and I just wanted a captain that could give a sidekick a defense power that an opposing character that's adjacent to them can use. Yikes. Like so much setup, so much work for Hydra team ability though. I think this is the first piece in the set that we've seen that. So for 50 points, giving out like PD, I guess. Not really giving it out, but you'd have to pull some team players. Next up, Princess Veranke. For 45 points, she is a scroll. She has ruler, scrolls, and spy. She is also a captain. So 5 clicks long for 45 points, 5 range, 1 lightning bolt. Her dial is 3 clicks of stealth with 3 clicks of penetrating psychic blast, a full dial of mastermind. Top 3 clicks have a special power that is we need reinforcements. Leadership. When Princess Veranke uses it and succeeds, you may instead generate a 002 scroll spy on click 1. So this is different from bringing them in on the sideline active trait. They normally come in on click 2. This brings them in on their stealth double, or not double, but 50-50 shape change roll. So kind of cool. Doesn't really usually work in sealed, but disregarding this, she is a 45-point leadership piece with Psychic Blast, so that is something. Her last 2 clicks, she has Sidestep Blades with Outwit, so also like a decent bottom dial. Nowhere does she get Shape Change, so other than her team ability, so she is only ever a Shape Change on 6. Her other trait is Gain Their Trust, free. Choose a friendly sidekick and a copyable team ability that an opposing character can use. The chosen sidekick can use the chosen team ability until your next turn. I think this works way better in sealed than it does in constructed. I don't think that like you're going to have a ton of options in constructed that are copyable always. In sealed, you'll probably have X-Men, Avengers, maybe Skrulls, maybe Shield or Hydra or something. But yeah, I think she's fine for the points. If you pull this as your rare, I'm sorry. That sucks. There's so many better options just throughout the set. Like, I'd rather have another, like, uncommon something than this as my rare. That being said, it is a fun casual piece. Anything that can generate other figures is cool. Not going to work in sealed. Bad in Battle Royal.
Next up, speaking of someone that's actually good in sealed and good in a battle royal, is Requiem. I talked about Requiem before. 70-point charge blades, full dial of outwit, full dial of toughness, except for her stop click on the end there. But whenever she kills an opposing character, the rest of the game, she has steel energy and cosmic energy team ability. I like her a lot. She's a very solid close combat piece. It sucks she doesn't have any really range protection or whatever, but she can eventually get close. She can cause a lot of problems for your opponent with that steel energy, cosmic energy, outwit, and then of course stop click. So I like her a lot for a charge, whatever 70-point figure. Probably not going to make a lot of theme, assassin, cosmic warrior, but I do like this figure for sealed and battle royales and stuff. And then I think fun enough to build around casually. So yeah,
I think in sealed she might, I wouldn't say carry teams, but if she does make that kill, it definitely swings like the momentum of the match in your favor pretty heavily. The prime of Requiem is Gamora, has the Guardians TA, comes in at 100 points, no additional point line, 6 range, 1 lightning bolt. Starts with Running Shot, Psychic Blast for the first 2 clicks. So she's 10, 11, 18, 3 with Super Senses and Prob, and that's on click 1 and 2. Clicks 3 and 4, she goes to Charge with Energy Explosion, Invulnerability, and Outwit. 12 attack, Energy Explosion on those clicks, 17 defense with the Invuln, still 3 damage. It's 3 damage the entire dial, but she does have Outwit, so some options that she goes to there. And then clicks 5 and 6, she goes to Flurry, Blades, Mastermind, and Exploit Weakness. Not a combo I love, but it does follow up the charge. So if you do charge in instead of using the Energy Explosion, and your opponent manages to hit you off Invuln, now you've got a Mastermind, Flurry, Blades, Exploit piece. It's something. It can definitely cause a lot of damage. And then rounding out back with Running Shot, which I really don't like going from Flurry back to Running Shot, but at least you have a stop click comboed with it. So it's Running Shot, Energy Explosion, 3 damage with Outwit, and the stop click is stop when this click is first revealed. After resolutions, give all opposing characters within 6 squares an action token. The only other thing that this Gamora has going for her is a trait that is a piece of me is missing. At the beginning of your turn, if a friendly character was not targeted with Outwit since your last turn, heal Gamora 1 click. When a friendly character is targeted with Outwit, gain 1 mission point. So either way the turn goes is good for you. If your opponent doesn't use Outwit, this Gamora's healing just constantly. It's going to take a bit to get her all the way down dial and KO her in the same turn, especially in sealed. If you just didn't put any Outwit on your team and you're facing this Gamora, it's going to be really hard to keep her down for the count, especially like late game. If you did pack Outwit, I don't think she's winning by mission points in sealed. It's possible, I guess, not on her own, but like it is possible for her to like be teamed up with someone else that does
Like
mission
your
points
opponent
somehow.
is gonna be like, depending on how many Outwits they have,
Yeah.
probably stop using Outwit around the 15 mission point mark
Yeah,
and be
if
like,
you're-
all right,
Well, and
I gotta
you'd have to be
some.
for the game to keep going. You would have to be using Outwit and missing attacks, and that, like
Oh, that's true, yeah.
because if you're using Outwit and just nailing every attack, like the game's over. Like you're not winning off mission points. It's never a good thing if your opponent uses Outwit, but at least in constructed could potentially make them consider not using Outwit more. But yeah, it's a pretty decent piece. I think for 100 points, the Running Shot Pensai 3 damage is worth it because you've got Prob on that as well. The dial length is worth it, and then if you can just keep your opponent from using, and she has her own Outwit to shut off opposing Outwit too. If you can just keep your opponent from using their Outwit, she's going to heal almost every single turn. That's pretty solid.
Next up, old Kate Pride here. So, she is a full dial of phasing teleport when she uses it after resolutions. An action token to an opposing character with the armor, robot, or vehicle keyword that she moved through during that action, which is okay. She's combat reflexes. She's full dial of blades, 2 damage to 1 damage. When Kitty Pryde uses phasing teleport, until your next turn, she takes a maximum of 1 damage from attack. So she's a pretty hard to kill 35 points. Once again, it's only 35 points that's hard to kill. If she was a hard to kill 100 points, and it's like, yo, whoa. But yeah, she is like solid enough. There's not a ton of armor, robot, or vehicle in this set, or in general. I mean, maybe at your venue, if you see that played a lot, that could be kind of fun. But she could still like a max 1 damage character. She still shields X-Men team ability. But if you're in sealed, this would hurt a lot if this is rare that you pull. I think she's fun enough to build with, though. I think she'll be a fun casual building piece. But yeah, I don't think she's a sealed or BR pick.
If you like blow it out of the park with your other booster, and this is like your like kind of muck booster that's only got this rare, I do like this piece a lot. I even think it's a solid rare in sealed, as long as you have like plenty of other good stuff, because this 35 points by itself isn't going to win you any games, but it will delay your opponent quite a bit. I think you have to just kind of ignore her on turns where she's phased and wait till she either has 2 action tokens or something. I don't know. Next up, really cool sculpt on this guy. This is Sunspot, number 39 in the set. Comes in at 150 points. 100/50 points, not 150 total. So the 100-point line, running shot, poison, with a special defense power and prob. So I kind of like the top dial. The special defense power is energy shield deflection. When a friendly character that's adjacent or has the aim or scientist keyword would take 4 or more damage, they take 3 instead. Wow, what a generous benefactor. Is that Jeff Bezos being so generous with his amazing... You're only going to take 3 damage instead of 4. Wow. I guess if you were going to snipe someone for like 7 or something crazy, it does make a difference. But mostly just for the energy shield. That's all that you're really using. But it does have 6 range, 1 lightning bolt. I don't really like the poison combo with the running shot. You have that poison for the first 4 clicks. From click 1 to click 2, you go from running shot to sidestep. You also lose prob and go to outwit. You keep outwit all the way to click 4, where you go back to running shot. And then clicks 5, 6, and 7, you no longer have that special defense power. Instead, you get energy shield for clicks 5 and 6, and then regen on click 7. On click 7, you finally get a dial that is interesting to me. So you get running shot, psychic blast, 11 for 3 with prob. Sadly, you've only got regen on that click, so no defense to be had. But old Sunspot here does have the Avengers and X-Men team abilities with the AIM, Avengers, New Mutants, Scientist, and X-Men keywords. The 50-point line starts on click 4, so it starts you on that running shot, the second edition of running shot poison, which you're not going to use the poison unless you get based, and you really don't want this guy to get based because all he's really got defensively is energy shield. It's a huge point sink at 100 to have like a piece that only defensively has energy shield and nothing else. I do like the prob top dial, but I think I take my chances in sealed. I take my chances with the 50-point line if I'm playing him at all, and hope that like I don't get knocked out with one hit kind of thing. That being said, I think this would be a fun piece to play with like the AIM keyword constructed or scientist keyword constructed. I forgot the other trait. It's Supreme Leader of AIM, leadership. When Sunspot uses it and succeeds, friendly characters that are adjacent or have the AIM or scientist keyword gain safeguard outwit until your next turn. I really like that because if it's just friendlies that are adjacent, don't have to have like the same keyword, so like that's a pretty cool little effect. But I like it even more when I'm playing like an AIM or scientist theme team.
Oh, definitely. Weird power combos is so strange. Like he's a very like unique figure in that way with his super weird power combos and stuff. But next up here, Colossus, Peter Rasmus Piotr, Mystics, X-Men, full dial here of actually is that probably his last one there. Passenger 2, phasing teleport. When Colossus is given a move action after resolutions, he can make a close attack or use the X-Men ability as free. So whenever he's given a move action, that's his full 8 squares, top dials, pretty solid. He's an 11 for 4 with a 19 defense, invulnerability, and 4 damage probability control. He has the Jean Grey School of the Future trait, being the game. Choose a friendly character with a Jean Grey School for Higher Learning keyword. Chosen character is considered a sidekick this game. That could be good in constructed, not so much sealed, not a ton of School for Higher Learning figures, but in constructed, that can be really fun, allows for some shenanigans. And then he has a trait, Let Us Begin, free, choose a friendly sidekick. The chosen sidekick has Mystics team ability until your next turn, so he's just handing out the Mystics team ability. I think Colossus here is a fine enough sealed pick. I mean, Passenger 2, when he does these move action stuff, I think if you can pull that Beast and full speed move with Colossus, punch them 11 for 4, and then punch them with Beast 11 for 3. I guess Beast has Empower, so an 11 for 5 Colossus. That would be a really, really solid combo. And I think this Colossus leads to a lot of fun stuff in some casual constructed parts of the game. So I think he's a really fun figure. I think he's a solid seal pick and a really good battle royale pick as well.
Man, do I really hope that we aren't seeing the beginning of certain keywords being able to opt in as sidekicks, because the one thing that's keeping sidekicks from being like super broken is that like they have super bland dials for the most part. If you're able to start sneaking like an Avenger in as like a sidekick, it's going to get real crazy. No, I think he's probably one of the more solid rares you can pick. He is a huge point cost, and they don't have any like secondary point line. But I don't know. The other thing is 125 points for a taxi is bad, but 125 points for a taxi that can move 8 squares and then attack it's okay. It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the blades with 4 damage, but you know,
Yeah.
at least you're doing minimum 3 top dial. All right, next up is Monica Rambeau, good old Photon. So she comes in at 150 or 50. Let's see if the 100-point difference between really matters. So for 150, you get a special speed power that is phasing teleport. When Monica Rambeau uses it after resolutions, she may make an attack, but only to target an opposing character she moved through this turn, regardless of adjacency, range, or line of fire. That's pretty big, because yeah, you can move like through a wall and then back through a wall with phasing, and then your opponent has 0 chance of like probbing it, re-attacking you, like, you know, just tons of options defensively to like kind of yo-yo her around like that. I really like that top dial because it's comboed with a 12 attack psychic blast and 3 damage close combat expert. I think it's going to be a close attack though, right? After resolutions, she may make an attack. I don't know. It doesn't specify. It says regardless of adjacency, range, or line of fire. It just says may make an attack. Would you get to choose? Because then you could be potentially a 13 for 4, or a, you know, psychic blast being pen damage. She, in addition to that, has 7 range with 3 lightning bolts. She has cosmic energy and Avengers team abilities. When she uses phasing teleport or running shot after resolutions, you roll a d6, and on a 4 through 6, you've got the whole same thing as good old Quicksilver. Action total either up 1, or you may place her in the square she occupied when given the action. So there's even an additional way for her to use phasing teleport, bop somebody, and then move even further away, kind of thing. So top dial for 150 points, not the worst thing that you could pull or play, being half your build and sealed. The 50-point line starts on click 5 and is just going to be the running shot, psychic blast, impervious, 3 damage with leadership. You don't have the fancy phasing teleport until clicks 7 and 8, her last 2 clicks, where she'll have energy shield deflection, and then it'll go back to that combo of close combat expert, the phasing teleport special, and penetrating psychic blast. Her dial's a little wonky, so top dial for 150, she has impervious with an 18. She loses it and gets 2 clicks of invulnerability at 18, and then on clicks 4 and 5, she goes back to impervious, then back to invuln, and then ends with energy shield. I think on the right map for 150 points, she's worth it. I think on the wrong map, for 150 points, she's a huge liability. She's a huge chunk of your points. With Invincible not being an option, Impervious isn't that hard to knock through with all like the Psychic Blast and like pen damage we've seen in this set. She could easily be whittled down at 150. Like, you're giving your opponent potentially 3 or 4 even attacks against her. It's like point cost ratio is what I mean.
Yeah.
For 50 points, she's absolutely solid. Triple target, 7 range, running shot, psychic blast for 3. Absolutely good for 50 points. No reason not to like play that. And then you have that trait where she can potentially increase your action total, and she already brings leadership to the table, or she can move back the like 6 squares that she running shotted. So yeah, good piece.
I do like her a lot. I think in sealed it comes down to how many cheap Avengers or Cosmic figures you can pull. Then obviously BR player top if you're allowed to. But if not, and if you don't pull enough Avengers pieces sealed, player at 50 is still a really good 50-point running shot. A 17 defense is rough, sure. And Simeon talks about like how easy it can be to get through Impervious, especially with no. It's never mind. She has Cosmic Energy, so she's fine. There's no outwitting that at the very least. So yeah, I think she's still like just solid at either point value, whichever way you choose to go in sealed. I think she can be borderline oppressive with that living energy power if you get the right like map. So yeah. Next up, Madam Hydra, stealth, poison, combat reflexes, and then a special damage power for top is leadership and outwit. She's 6 range, she's 45 points. She has the Hydra team ability, of course. It's neat. She goes on to sidestep, pen blast, outwit. So she's got a full dial of outwit. So she's a fine enough outwit. She's got leadership. She's an okay tie up. She'll can't be shot at. She's got poison. She's got combat reflexes for 20 defense. She has that whole follow up keyword where for all characters to follow up trait, make an attack using Madam Hydra's printed combat values, but only to target a single character hit with an attack made by another friendly character with the Hydra keyword. Not a lot of Hydra keyworded figures in this set, and most of them, like Madam Hydra, aren't very good. So she's like iffy to play in sealed. I think she'll be fun-ish on a Hydra team, 11 for 3 isn't crazy to hand out, but yeah, that's Madam Hydra. Fairly simple, I'd say.
Yeah. I think she shines way more when she's not taking up a rare slot in your booster.
Really?
But yeah, I do like the outwit poison combo with stealth and combat reflexes. Like I feel like that's fairly safe, and your opponent has to like come up next to her, and then you can just outwit poison and like potentially punch or whatever. Next up, Scarlet Witch, 50 point. She's number 43 in the set. She has 2 clicks of phasing top dial. She's an Avengers and Mystics team ability with 6 range, 2 lightning bolts. So 2 clicks of phasing. The first click is comboed with, I think, the first TK that we've seen, like printed TK.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So there it is. I guess you have to pull potentially a rare. I think there was maybe something lower down that had it. But anyhow. This Scarlet Witch also has phasing, phasing, telekinesis, energy shield deflection, and then a special damage power with 3 damage. I do like the 3 damage for her first 3 clicks. Then she goes from that TK to attack mode. All of a sudden she has penetrating psychic blast, still with phasing, so it's not great, but still an 18 with energy shield, so she is protected from range. I doubt you see click 2 very often, but if you do, then like there it is. On click 3, she gets sidestep with Psychic Blast and still has that special damage power. I should say what that is. So the special damage power is outwit and prob control. So yeah, just a good combo there. Clicks 4 and 5, her last 2 clicks, she goes to sidestep, steal energy with super senses and regular prob. So she does have a little bit of maybe healing power, but you're only ever going to heal up to that click 3. But you at least get Psychic Blast and your outwit prob back. I really like this piece for 40 or for 50 points. It's going to damage your opponent if she hits her. It's got outwit and prob on dial. It has improved targeting through hindering, so it's one of the few pieces in the set that could actually target someone in stealth and outwit from range at least. Then she has a rally die that is a blue 1, so it's friendly attack rolls. When an opposing character within range and line of fire makes an attack, you may remove Scarlet Witch's rally die and replace a die in the attack roll with it. That's real fun. That it punishes your opponent for rolling 1s. It takes your bad rolls and applies them to your opponent. And what's more chaotic than that? I really like this rally die because you get to choose the die. So if they roll like a 1 and a 6, and that would hit, but then you replace the 6 with a 1, and all of a sudden it's a crit miss. And that combined with her probability control, She's probably one of the better support pieces in the set, just for like those combos. I don't know. Other than that, she's just a decent piece all around. I don't think she's going to stay on the team with that ability, that rally ability, for too long. I think your opponent's going to make an effort to get rid of her as quick as possible. But she does have Avengers, Brotherhood of Mutants, Detective, Mystical, and X-Men team abilities, or keywords, jeez. So yeah, I think she's one of the better support rares that you can pull. She's not going to be pulling her weight as an attacker like Monica Rambeau or Colossus or even Sunspot will. But for an Outwit Prob top dial and a TK, kind of giving you that reach if you need it, I really like this piece.
I know, absolutely. I think it's funny how many ESD Mystics Prob figures we need to have in this set.
Oh, yeah.
A little funny there.
All of them.
Next up, though, we have Deadpool. I think our first unique figure in this set. 75 or 40 team player, 4 range, 2 targets. Traits, to be honest, this is way overdue. Sideline active. So let's talk about his main dial really quick. So he has free once per game, Generate Jeff, which is a little charge, 9 attack blades, 1 damage figure. Right? And whenever Jeff is KO'd, that's the game. Deadpool can use Flurry and Steal Energy. He can heal past his starting line. Really good, right? So what does Deadpool do? He is a first 4 clicks, charge. His 40-point line, he'll start with charge. Full dial of blades, 18 defense toughness for the first 4 clicks, full dial of leadership. And then on his last 3 clicks, he has sidestep and regeneration. So he's a close combat beast. He's got all sorts of cool things. He pops out another attacker. Jeff isn't autonomous. Jeff does have the dolphin symbol, though, which is kind of neat. And then if Jeff dies, sadly, it's by an opposing attack. You can't like crit miss with Jeff or somehow hit him and then he's, whatever. But
Catch
giving
him in your own
Deadpool
energy
Flurry,
explosion.
with energy explosion. But it, if Jeff can be just annoying enough to your opponent, then maybe that can really make Deadpool pretty awesome. So basically, the only reason you'd ever use Deadpool sideline is if you have a friendly character who's 75 or more with the monster keyword, because then you get to bring in Deadpool on his red starting line from outside the game, from your sideline in that character square, which can be really good because then you bring in Deadpool, he's a 10 for 2 blades, whatever. He also gets to pop out Jeff again. And then he can, if Jeff dies, he can potentially heal all the way back up to full, which is pretty cool. But if you don't do it that way, there's not a ton of monster characters in this set. If you can't make room for Deadpool, maybe do something like that. But if not, he's a leadership. He is a solid charge blades figure. With Jeff, he can kind of like that Gamora, be really, really annoying. No stop click. I don't know. He totally needs it. That might have pushed him a little bit over for how, his point cost. But yeah, just thinking of the potential getting, Flurry and Steal Energy is really, really solid for this guy. So he can be very, very annoying. Depending on what your point's looking like, I would kind of urge you to play him at 40 points. I think he's solid enough at 40. A little scared of getting one shot there. But if not, 75 is fine. I think he can do enough, though. It's kind of up to you and sealed. If not, he's super fun. Like, he should just be on every monster sideline team you have ever. He's a very cool figure. Very cool.
I kind of like, but also kind of hate the last 3 clicks being regen. The amount of times someone will see regen on the dial and be like, all right, that's either last click or second to last. And so they won't put enough damage into them. I mean, clearly you can just look at the card and see. So that's kind of not really something that happens as often as like now. But the thing I really don't like about it is for this Deadpool to be effective, you're going to have to forego regen most of the time to try and get a blades attack in, which is fine. It's just wish you could do both. Next up is good old Jim Hammond. I'm pretty sure Calder talked about him at one point, but he's 45 points, shield team ability, running shot with Psychic Blast, 6 range, energy shield, top dial, rest of the dial is toughness. He's got a weird dial where he loses Psychic Blast on clicks 2 and 3, gets it back on click 4, and then loses it again on click 5. But that top dial is all you're really paying for 45 points. So he's also got the follow-up trait, works with shield keywords. So should be able to pull that off in sealed, I believe. Improved movement through characters, so your running shot's always going to be able to You're always going to be able to get range if you need to. And then special damage power is enhancement and leadership. So 45 points brings a ton of stuff that we've already talked about being good to the table. So running shot, psychic blast, enhancement, leadership, shield team ability. It's just a solid piece. It's not the best rare that you can get by any stretch, but it is a solid 45-point piece to any team, even in constructed. So he's got invaders, past, police, robot, and shield. Sadly, one of the few pieces in this set that Kitty Pryde can give an action token to, so you got to watch out for that. But
Oh no! Oh
yeah, it's super dangerous.
no! Kitty's there.
But no, very solid piece, just all around.
Like Simeon said, finally the invaders have a leadership character, a real leader, because clearly no one else has ever been a leader of the invaders.
Absolutely not.
Next up, another one of the worst figures in the set also happens to be guessed it, Venom X-Men character. Old Jean Grey here is Cosmic Energy X-Men. She is Venom Marvel Girl. Wow. Is 160 points and bad at both. Improved targeting, she ignores characters, 6 range. Symbiotic fusion, which is the whole plasticity super senses. If she's within 4 squares and line of fire of an opposing character, she can't be targeted by ranged attacks. She's got to be really close to not get shot. She has mental shriek for her first 4 clicks, which will also be on her starting line or 60-point line. And control sidestep. My control is free, but only to target opposing characters within 4 squares, which can be good if you have another TK on your team or something to get her really, really close. She still, once again, only has 1 bolt, so it's a little balanced there. And then she has Tendril Kinesis on her first 4 clicks. So this is telekinesis. When Venom Marvel Girl uses it, after resolutions, roll a d6. On a 3 through 4, heal the placed character 1 click. 5 through 6, make a close attack, targeting an opposing character adjacent to the placed character, regardless of adjacency. There's not a ton of times where I've TK'd somebody to be right next to an opposing character. These are all very late game, helpful versions of telekinesis,
Yeah.
So
which
it's
is
a little
weird to
rough.
have it as starting dial.
Yeah, it really is. Again, this is another figure that I wish they were flipped, because a sidestep 11 for 3 pen blast would be pretty cool top dial, even with everything. But alas, here we are. She is an 18 defend, but for 100 points, she's just not worth it. For 60, I still don't think she's worth it. I mean, he's really rough, like 17 defense, defend, super senses, I guess, she's just so bad. She's such a bad use of points. She's got TK. If you're really hurting for telekinesis, she is at least a sidestep TK enhancement, but again, for 60 points, that's a lot to pay for. So you really have to be large and in charge with your placement of this figure to try to keep her alive. But yeah she's rough.
For 10 points less, that Invisible Woman had an 18 defend, right?
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
points.
exactly.
So, no, this is one of the times where I don't think Calder is just hating on the X-Men. I also think that this figure is just kind of bad. That being said, if your opponent is playing that common She-Hulk and you have this Venom Marvel Girl for 60 points, you'll be able to potentially mind control that She-Hulk twice per turn, which at that point is kind of good. Also, when you're making a close attack targeting an opposing character adjacent to the placed character, regardless of adjacency, it doesn't say there that using printed combat values, so you could turn that close attack into a mind control, which isn't nothing, but it is a premium price for essentially a bad defend. I mean, at 100 points, it's just way too much, but at 60, 17 defend isn't great. That's what most people are already going to have. And then enhancement on top of that is okay. It's just a lot for that. Speaking of 60 points, number 047 in the set is Black Panther. So Black Panther, good old T'Chaka, is going to be 4 range, 1 lightning bolt. He's a charge blades for most of his dial. Clicks 4 through 6 are going to be flurry blades. 11 attacks for the first 3 clicks, 10 attack for the next 3, and then a 9 attack on the last click. On the last click, he gets charge back, which if you're not already next to somebody at that point, it's kind of bad. But He does have improved movement for elevated, so hope you weren't going to play a team with Storm because she'll be useless with this guy. But special defense power for the first 3 clicks is press the advantage. Super senses when Black Panther uses it and succeeds after resolutions, deal an adjacent posing character 1 penetrating damage. I really like this. I'd like it even more if it was protected outwit, but I still really like it. We've seen shape changes that kind of do this kind of thing. So it's another one of those, like, not only did I avoid the attack, but I'm also going to deal you some damage. So it's pretty cool. Black Panther here doesn't do pen damage any other way, so that might actually like be important at some point. Then you also have, I should say, on clicks 4 through 6, after you lose that special power, he gets combat reflexes with a 17 and 2 16s and Empower. So it goes from leadership to Empower. I don't like the bottom dial Empower, but if you still have some decent figures that are close combat right around there, it's okay. And then he has the Recruiter trait. It's power. Choose a character with the Wakanda keyword in your KO area that hasn't been chosen for or generated by a Recruiter effect. If you do, generate a character with the Wakanda keyword from your sideline that has a lower point value than the chosen character. This game, the generated character can't be replaced and your opponent scores them immediately. So I don't know. I feel like this is better than the other Recruiter that we saw because I feel like Wakanda's got some stuff that it can like pull in mid-game that might make a difference. I'm just trying to think of a situation where I want to like double up on what points my opponent basically has. Like if I lose the Prime Black Leopard, who I think is like 50 points, and I'm pulling in another Wakanda piece, am I really going to give him like 45 more points? Like, I don't know. Maybe if I really think it can like rally me back, but no, this is a solid rare. Charge Blades. I don't know why they even bothered giving him range, but you know it's there, and it's 60 points for leadership, and I mean it's just a long 7-click long dial. I really hate the 15 defense on the bottom end, but I guess it is what it is. I don't know why you would do that in modern days, but yeah.
Gross. Not a fan. Next up is T'Chaka 2. That's the Prime. Simeon talks a lot about this dude.
Yeah,
I think he's awesome in Sealed. I think we all, it's even better in the sequel. He's charged Flurry Stealth with an 18 combat reflexes, full dial of 3 damage, 11 attack, top dial. For 45 points, he's amazing. And once per turn, an opposing character within range makes an attack. After all rolls and die replacements, you roll a d6 and subtract half the result before finalizing the attack roll. He has 6 range for that power. He is awesome. Of T'Chaka 2. I think he is unless you got a crazy theme team you're going to pull off here in Sealed, I think he is honestly a must play. He is awesome. Like, he's just balling. He's great.
I think
he's awesome.
If your opponent's backing just an absolute ton of prob, them having to like roll and like maybe they roll and they hit, but they only hit by like 1, or they hit exactly. And you've got this guy, they're going to have to prob their own attack if they want it to hit, because if they hit directly, it doesn't matter what you roll on the d6, you're going to make them miss by 1. But potentially you remove like 3. I think he's a good counter to all the prob in the set. Sadly, he is a Prime, so chances of actually pulling one in Sealed aren't great, but absolutely one of the better rares you can pull. Next up is 048 Magneto. So this guy's got a 75-point line and a 40-point line, and they are just like polar opposites. Not really, but they are completely different. I do like he's 6 clicks, and they are split evenly. So the first 3 is his 75-point line, and then his 40-point line starts on click 4. So for 75 points, you get the gray powers, running shot, telekinesis, invulnerability, and leadership. He has a trait that gives him knockback, just in general. Luckily, it's not a attack power that only gives knockback. For 40 points, you get a sidestep, energy explosion, barrier, and outwit piece for all 3 of those clicks. Depending on whichever click you start him on, he will have an 11 attack and end on a 12 attack, funny enough. So he has 3 damage his whole dial, 18 defenses top dial, and then on click 2, he also has an 18. He goes down to a 17 for clicks 3 and 4, and then back up to 18 for clicks 5 and 6. Yeah, I think he is... So I guess the last thing is his only keyword is Brotherhood of Mutants. That's fun. But he also has the Rally 5, so opposing attack rolls, if they roll a 5, you get 1. His is free, remove Magneto's Rally die to destroy up to 5 walls or squares of blocking terrain within range. As cool as this is, and funny as this is, I don't see it ever really being like a huge deciding factor in like most sealed games. And I don't see most people putting this guy on their team. Like maybe if your opponent's packing Molecule Man and you're playing Magneto Swap, then I can see this guy actually hitting the board in like a competitive sense. Casually, I think he's great at both dials. 6 range, 2 lightning bolts with running shot, or 6 range, 2 lightning bolts with energy explosion and sidestep. I think both dials have their places. It just really depends on in sealed if you need that strong attacker, that top dial strong attacker, or if you need an outwit right off the bat. If you need a barrier, he's one of like the only barriers we've seen in the game or in this set. So he does have a lot of options to play. And then he has the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability. So he even has an ability to pull tokens off of himself. But yeah, I think he's solid. And honestly, it absolutely just depends on what else you pulled, depending on what you play him at.
All right, next up here we have Roland. He's a Skrull and an X-Men. He's a 6 range, 1 bolt, 75 points. He's an ally, and he has 2 other traits. Engineered to replace the X-Men, sideline active, unique modifier, friendly captains and sidekicks, modify attack +1 when attacking 1 or more characters with the X-Men keyword. This is probably one of the better sideline active figures for this set, specifically in sealed. In a Wonder Woman, it was like, I don't really know if I'm going to use him that much. Or it's like, Zeus, there are a lot of deities, but like you're 1,000 times better main force. So why would I play that, on my sideline? But Roland here is like, okay, for 75 points. So putting him on your sideline would be fine, in my opinion. So, I mean... yeah, especially with all the X-Men figures in this set to help take him out. I think he's a very solid choice here for sideline. He has a full dial of sidestep, full dial of toughness. He is 7 clicks long. He has, scroll steam ability, like I said. So he's got 50-50 shape change for his first 3 clicks, full dial of 3 damage. Last 4 clicks, he's close combat expert, which is pretty cool. And then he has powers the X-Men. Free. Choose 2 powers from the following list, and he can use those until you choose again. So that's really cool that it's until you choose again. It's phase and teleport, running shot, charge, blades, pen blast, energy explosion, ESD, super senses, or regen. So he's got some really good sticking power. He can have super senses and shape change his whole dial if you want to. He can have some good, or if he wants to be super offensive, he can be running shot with pen blast, running shot, energy explosion. Purely defensive, he has ESD, super senses, whatever. I think he has good enough pick of power. 75 points is a bit much to ask for this guy, though, so I totally understand if you want to put this guy on your sideline. However, I don't think he's the worst 75 points you could play in this set, honestly. No. So he can be pretty good in and of himself.
Yeah, if you want to play it defensively and have ESD super senses with a 50-50 shape change, he's got a lot of staying power, and then he can, absolutely switch to like whichever best offense you need. And then he's even got phasing to get himself out of there, like late game, phasing regen kind of thing. No, I think he's solid. Yeah. It's going to be fun to play with him. It's a really fun sculpt. Yeah, I'm actually looking, one of the rares I'm looking forward to pulling the most would be this guy. And then out of the rares onto the super rares. First up for the super rares is going to be Hulkling, who isn't a title character. Sorry, Scott Porter. So Hulkling comes in at 175 points and 60 points. His 175 point line will start with a 12 speed charge, 12 attack with a special attack power, an 18 impervious, and a 4 damage shape change. And of course, he has the Scrolls team ability comboed with the Cosmic Energy team ability. And sealed, that combo between the 2 rollouts and the 50-50 shape change and protected outwit might be worth the 175 point line. Bunch of traits here. So first one is, I ended 2 wars in 1 day by holding a sword in the air. When establishing theme teams, characters on your starting force with the Kree keyword gain the Skrull keyword, and characters with the Skrulls keyword gain the Kree keyword. Pretty decent, not too bad. Second trait is your conflict created me? ? Leadership. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Leadership Mastermind. When Hulkling uses leadership and succeeds, you may instead generate a Skrull Spy generic or a Kree Soldier generic on click 1. So that's 002 in the set or 003 in the set. And then the third trait is, okay, have fun with it. Free. Choose a friendly sidekick and choose Blades, Claws, Fangs, or Exploit Weakness. The chosen sidekick can use the chosen standard power this turn. Pretty solid. Pretty solid set of traits. They all kind of give you things in either a sealed or constructed format. It's mostly like more constructed kind of stuff. But it's possible to have a split in your boosters between Kree and Skrulls, and then you get to combo it with this guy. Even if you don't have any Skrulls or Kree soldiers to generate, you still have Leadership Mastermind from his second trait. And then if you do have any sidekicks, you can give them Blades or Exploit, but that's probably not as likely in sealed environment. His special attack power is the Star Sword, which gives him Blades, Claws, Fangs. When Hulkling uses it after resolutions, you may place an adjacent friendly character or hit opposing character a number of squares away from their current square equal to the D6 result, which is really fun. Being able to place characters up to 6 squares away, up to even 1 square placement is pretty good. But other than that, that's all Hulkling is really doing. Keywords are Avengers, Cosmic, Guardians of the Galaxy, Kree, Ruler, Skrulls, Warrior, Young Avengers. First 6 clicks are all charge. He has that special attack power, that Blades power, the entire dial. First 3 clicks are a combo of Impervious and Shape Change. And then clicks 4 through 6 are Exploit and Invulnerability, which pretty decent defense values. First 2 clicks are 18s, second 2, 3, and 4 are 19, and 5 is 19, I guess. 6 and 7, 8 all go back down to 18, and then he ends the dial with a nice combo of Flurry, that special Blades power, and then Super Senses and Shape Change. So still with the double rollout, but also combined with Flurry on those clicks. Hulkling also has Flight, so I think you're usually playing Hulkling at 175 in sealed. The 60 point line starts on click 6, which is still a charge Blades click with that Exploit weakness. I think because of how much pen damage is in this set, your opponent's probably going to just knock you right through your double rollouts on the bottom end. Maybe not, though. You might actually get to hit those. If not, that charge Blade special is pretty decent comboed with Exploit right off the bat. I think 60's the safer bet, just because you'll get terribly out-actioned if you only have like 2 or 3 figures. Hulkling will have to clear at some point. Cosmic Energy won't hit every time. The willpower roll, that is. So at 175 points, I really want to like it. I think casually, with the Leadership Mastermind and the ability to generate the Kree and Skrull spies, you could definitely make a fun team at 175 points and have 2 rollouts plus the ability to mastermind any damage that did get through. In sealed, I don't know how many generic little, not really generic, but I don't know how many low point people you're going to be able to count on pulling that are worth playing with him at 175. But he's definitely going to be able to pull his weight for most of the games. It's just, if your opponent's got a bunch of pen damage and like 5 of the prob figures that we talked about, they're probably still under 175 points, and they might just hit him right to that 60-point line. But yeah, I really like him either way. I lean more towards the 60-point line for sealed, and then constructed, let him be the ruler king person at 175.
I know, absolutely. Next up, is Captain America. I've talked for like 40 minutes to an hour or whatever on Captain America. So if we want to, if you want to go more into that, you can there. Just a quick overview. He has that whole Avengers swap. He has traded leadership. He is 175 or 40 points. I think he is just a 100-point beast. He's a 12 for 4, 18 impervious, running shot, 11 speed, top dial, Avengers keyword, 6 range, 2 targets. He is an absolute beast. I would play him at 100 points every time in sealed, in a BR, of course, at 100 points. The whole replacing characters, I don't think he's going to come up much in sealed. I think casually, he's awesome. Like, this is like my new favorite Captain America. He doesn't have like enough really cool stuff besides that, but his dial is just really, really fun. He's 11 clicks long. He's just a lot to mow through, It's, first 3 clicks of impervious in ESD, and then 2 more clicks of invulnerability, and then some ESD combat reflexes, 2 more clicks of toughness. Like, dial is not crazy strong, but I mean, top dial, dang, just trying to like just through all that stuff can mess with your opponent, being like, that's just so much I have to shoot through.
1 click that's below an 11 attack, no clicks where he is less than 3 damage. I mean, due to combat reflex or close combat expert.
Close combat expert printed.
But no, I absolutely agree. In sealed, unless you somehow pull better than his top dial, I think you play him at 100 every single time. If for some reason you just pulled like phenomenally and you want to play him at 40, that's the only other dial I would play him on. Because 75 with ESD being like your only defense isn't great, but that top dial is just so good. I don't know why you wouldn't fit that on your sealed team.
Definitely.
It's just a 12 for 4 with enhancement, with the amount of shield and everything else we've seen in this this set. I think you could make an amazing team around him, and it's just a great pull. That's probably one of all these super rares are pretty decent. Next up, 052 is Wolverine. This is the shield Wolverine, so he's got shield, spy, X-Men keywords, shield team ability, 2 lightning bolts with 0 range, 50 points. This is a really economically good piece for 50 points. So starts with charge, 12 attack for the first 4 clicks, blades the whole dial. First 3 clicks are charge with 8 speed, and then toughness, 18 defense top dial, 17s on clicks 2 and 3, and 3 damage with exploit for the first 3 clicks. Clicks 4 through 6, the last 3 clicks are flurry with blades. So you start with a 12 on click 4 and then go down to an 11. Start with an 18 combat reflexes, or 17 combat reflexes on click 4, and then go up to an 18 on clicks 5 and 6. And he's got Empyre on all 3 of those last clicks. I really like this figure every point of the dial. Being able to charge and deal 3 pen damage or roll for maybe 6 pen damage is really good. And then he's got 3 traits, because why wouldn't this figure have 3 traits? So first one is tracking the target. At the beginning of the game, choose an opposing character as Wolverine's mark. Whenever that character moves after resolutions, you move Wolverine up to 2 squares. That's insane. Like, if they sidestep, you move 2 squares. If they power action move, you move 2 squares. If they somehow move for free, you move 2 squares. If Wolverine's mark is KO'd, choose a different opposing character to be a new mark. And then the second trait is silently stalking. Wolverine can't be targeted until he has made an attack this game or is adjacent to his mark. That means if you pick a character that they really don't want you to be adjacent to as your mark, they either have to move it next to you or he can't be targeted until he makes an attack. So either way, it's just a really good beast to like mess with your opponent's strategy. It's one of the only pieces in this set that can do it in such a direct way. Last trait is I heal. Do you? When Wolverine hits after resolutions, he may use regeneration as free. Down dial when he's got flurry. I imagine you can only use regen as free once, but you have two attacks to potentially hit and get that free regeneration. And then the top 4 clicks, he's got 12 attack. It's going to be pretty easy to hit most things in this set. This figure just, as long as they're not KOing it in one hit, which I don't think this set can KO him in one hit, but as long as they're not like double tapping him, this figure's always going to be able to get back to top dial pretty easily. And it's just all around a really easy pick for a solid 50-point piece on your team.
All right, Ultron here is Master of Evil, 7 range, 2 targets, 140 points. Big dude. Flight, running shot with 8 speed, 12 attack, energy explosion, 18 defense, impervious, 4 damage, enhancement. Rolls on to some invuln and then toughness later. Goes on to some prob on clicks 3 through 5. On his last 4 clicks, he's got sidestep, pen blast, outwit, pretty solid. He's very deep dial. Is he worth 140 points? Let's see, shall we? He has quite a few traits. First one is power, generate an Ultron Joan. If you remember those guys, they're a sidestep, 10, 17, 3 with 6 range, so good enough, right? If Ultron was damaged since your last turn, you generate 2 instead. If there are no Ultron Jones on the map, or bystanders on the map, this trait is activated as free. So if he is damaged since your last turn and there are no Ultron drones, you get to make 2 of them for free. If not, it's power to make these guys, but you can just keep pumping them out. Yeah. But when you're 12 for 4, I don't know if I'd ever really do power actions so much. Unless, you're really like, yo, these Ultron drones are fire. His next trait is a mission point thing, so probably won't pop off too much in sealed, but it does make him fun and casual, I think. At the beginning of your turn, gain a mission point for each friendly character with Ultron in its name in your opponent's starting area. I love that. And then he has a stop click all the way at the end of his dial, which is stop and toughness, where he is a sidestep 11 for 2 with outwit and pen blast. Not the craziest stop click in the world, but it is a stop click nonetheless. No ways to heal this Ultron is pretty rough. He does have an optional trait, so if you pull the Ultron Pym that Simeon is about to talk about, when he would be KO'd, you instead replace him with Ultron Pym on click 4, and then that power is protected pulse wave, so that'd be plus 5 points. This Ultron, I don't know, like he's a pretty beefy dude in sealed. I think he's a solid pick. I think he's fine. 7 range, 2 targets. He's an 11 square reach. He also has enhancement to help out some people, helps out his own Ultron Jones. He can running shot up, shoot you, make an Ultron drone. The Ultron drone is now a 10 for 4 with enhancement, can shoot with that, which is like solid enough, I think. But once again, 140 is a lot of points. However, I do like what him and what this next Ultron Simeon is going to talk about do for mission points. I think in 400 points and just maybe in 300, we can do some really fun mission point shenanigans that I really like with these guys. And as, a mission points fan, current 2 mission point wins in the official format tournament here. I really like them, and I really cannot like this. Honestly, these Ultrons made me buy more of this set because I really want to get them as soon as possible, and I want to play some mission points with them because I do like them that much. However, I do wish this Ultron was like 20 points less or something, but he's fun.
140 does seem, because we saw a 150 point Ultron that had 3 stop clicks and a 14 top dial, and so it seems like, this one does a lot different stuff than that one, though. I do like that you can generate, there's no max to the Ultron drones. You can generate 2, like the first time you would generate them, you can free and then power. So you could running shot up and then free, drop one directly in front of you to kind of body block. If your opponent does hit you, like you can mess up their strategy, like with a follow-up attack. So if they're going to like attack you again, you can pop out 2. I guess it's if it was damage since your last turn, but like you can get quite a few on the board, and I don't know, it's just a good fun piece, especially in sealed. I like how It doesn't have to. You don't have to pull the Ultron drones. They're not like a figure in the set. You can just generate bystanders. But yeah, the Ultron Pym, the super rare prime. Now this guy has a much different dial. 80 points, cosmic energy. So it's got that going for it right off the bat. 6 range, 2 lightning bolts. First 3 clicks are stealth with 10 speed. The last 3 are sidestep with 8 speed. The first 3 attack is 12, and then the last 3 are 11. It's poison the entire dial. The first 3 defense values are 18, last 3 are 17 with impervious the entire dial. The first click of damage is 4 with prob, and then the last 5 clicks are all 3 damage with prob. So pretty simple dial. No special powers on the hand or anything like that. So this Ultron Pym here also generates Ultron drones, but you have to do it a slightly different way. So the first trait it has is Galactic Genocide in the name of the Avengers. Now this is going to be probably have like 0 bearing on, or not this specific trait, but the mission points will probably have 0 bearing on sealed. I don't think there's any way that you pull off a mission point thing with this figure in sealed, unless you somehow pulled the other Ultron as well. But the first trait is when an opposing character that is part of a theme team uses probability control, after resolutions deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. I really like this trait. I really like unavoidable damage to begin with, but I love it because it doesn't specify theme team prob. It's just when they use prob. So if they're on a theme team and they use prob of any kind, so this could actually work in sealed somehow. If your opponent has prob pieces and they're on a theme team, this can potentially just wreck them. And you also have prob on dial for this guy, so it's a double plus. Second trait is we can rewrite the entire universe. When Ultron Pym starts the game, the opponent generates 3 infinity markers in distinct squares in their starting area, and 3 infinity markers into any distinct squares on the map. So 3 have to be in the starting area, 3 on the map in distinct squares. Each infinity marker must be at least 3 squares from all others. So that's just a beginning of the game placement thing. Power, remove. So this Ultron has power, remove an infinity marker from a square occupied by a friendly character with Ultron in its name and place it onto this card. If you did, after resolutions, gain 1 mission point for each infinity marker on this card. So the first one you get 1 mission point. The second one, you get 3 mission points. The third one, you get 6. Well, sorry. You will be up to 3, then up to 6.
Right.
And then up to 10 on the 4th one, up to 15 on the 5th one, and then up to 21 and win the game on the 6th one. So this is one of the few mission point figures that can but can win a game potentially by mission points on their own. They don't need any other kind of mission point people, but you will have to build pretty specific for it. I didn't realize when I was first reading this that it's this Ultron that would have to be given the power action. So you can move one of the drones. You can power action move one of the drones to one of those markers and then power action this guy to remove it. So that actually makes it quite a bit easier and better, in my opinion. It means they don't have to power action move to that square and survive on that square. You just have to get some drones or some Ultrons of some kind out there. The last trait is Jarvis here did most of the work. Leadership Mastermind. When Ultron Pym uses leadership and succeeds, in addition to its normal effects, generate an Ultron drone bystander. So those are the same ones that the other Ultron generated. I think the Dyson token pack comes with 3 of these guys. But yeah, they're a 7 sidestep, 10 attack, 17 defense, and 3 damage. So depending on where your opponent places these on the map, you'll probably have to play pretty forward. I'll just, first of all, in sealed, this is a solid 80 points. 12 for 4 with 6 range, stealth, flight. Pretty decent. Can generate bystanders that are 0 points. Really good. It punishes any theme teams that use prob control. Also really good. Has prob itself. It's just a good piece in sealed. It's not going to win by mission points in sealed. But in constructed, there's some options. There's some, there's the 50-point Ultron from the Captain America set. There's the 140-point non-prime one that we just talked about that can generate Ultron drones for free if there aren't any. So you could potentially just place that guy really far up, generate a Ultron drone. So their effective reach would be, let's see, they'd start in square 2. He could move 8, so that would put him in square 10. Place the Ultron drone in square 11, and then it has 9 squares, so it can get to 20. So it can almost get to the starting area, but it can definitely get to all the ones not in the starting area on turn 1. So you could start getting these pretty soon. And then, of course, when they attack that other one, you can spit out 2 more. There's just a lot of options for this kind of build. I like the style of it because it's like a capture the flag. You're not playing to KO your opponent. You're playing to quickly gather all the resources. Will you get 6 turns? Probably not. Probably not in Modern. I haven't seen a lot of games go to turn 6. If you play quick enough, if you have like this game plan down quick enough and you don't let your opponent stall, it's possible. If you have alternate ways to get mission points, you don't have to get all 6. So, yeah. There's just yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I mean, what you said about opponents stalling, as someone who's like trying to play mission points in a tournament, opponents that stall or that are just really slow is crippling to a mission points team. You have to play as fast as possible. And it's tough. You feel like a jerk, but it's like, hey, man, can we hurry this along? Turns taking a really long time. Like you got to kind of like, as jerky as it feels, some people like they take forever. Some people take like 10 something minute turns, and it's like you can't have that. Not with mission points. Not when you need a ton of turns to win. To even be plausible for you to win.
That's why I've discounted most title characters, because ones with a really big a really big plot point kind of like thing at the end, you almost never get around to using that. But no, I think this guy is, I'm gonna say, probably the best figure in the set. Just on,
he's awesome.
Yeah, just so Dial isn't like the most crazy thing, but just what like the new fresh kind of build that you can do with him. I really wish the non-prime was just as interesting, but sadly he's a little bit harder to win on mission points, and like what he brings to the table is more vanilla. But that being said, the two of them together are like a really good duo. I think these 2 super rares will do what like the Apocalypse twins did in House of X, and they'll both hit the $100 mark. Depending
I
on
think so.
How rare they end up being, but it's cool. Sculpt's good. Everything's good. I like it. Now let's talk about something that Kalder really likes.
Yeah. Did I choose the wrong number when we started off? I think I've gotten all the Venom freaking X-Men. It's killer. Venom Iceman, 65 points, 6 range, 2 targets, running shot, 3 damage, invulnerability top dial. So far beefier than all the other Venom X-Men. Has that same trait, plasticity super senses, with the whole, if he's in the 4 squares, they can't shoot him. Characters, improved movement. Alien Ice Wall, barrier, period. Barriers free, but only generate 1 marker. Opposing characters adjacent to one or more of Venom Iceman's barrier markers must roll for breakaway if they don't already need to. His special attack power for his first 4 clicks is in cap knockback. When Venom Iceman destroys a square blocking terrain, after resolutions deal 1 damage to each opposing character adjacent to that square. It's only 1 damage, not penetrating damage. It's not that good. So really, what are we paying for here? He's a running shot, 6 range, double target, barrier in cap piece. He's like, okay, I guess. He's not really bad. He's got at least 18 invulnerability. If you pull enough enhancement, shield, whatever, he can be a fine secondary attacker. But once again, his attack power is like in cap, knockback. Yeah. His barrier can help lock down some other characters, which is really nice. But yeah, and sadly it's roll for breakaway. It's not as if they were adjacent to Iceman with plasticity, so it's still just a 50-50 breakaway for that barrier. But for being free, very solid. Free barriers can be helpful. But he's nothing crazy special. I don't want to talk about him. Please don't make me talk about any more X-Men.
It's the first big like oof in the
Super rares.
rares.
Oh,
If
for
you-
a
if
super
you-
rare?
Yeah.
It's-
As far
yeah.
as the options that we've listed before this, no, if there was another way to destroy a square blocking terrain other than giving him a power action to do it, that might be interesting comboed
Yeah.
with his barrier as free, but there's not. He doesn't have any kind of like improved movement that destroys it or improved targeting that destroys it or anything. It's just you'd have to take a power action. Yeah. Cool sculpt though. Next up is Quinoa, number 55 in the set. Apparently it's pronounced Koya because it's short for the real name, Sequoia. Why didn't they just give him the real name? I don't know. Maybe he goes by Koya in the comics. I'm not Scott Porter. I don't know. Koya here has a real long dial, 11 clicks for 200 points. At the 100-point line, you start on click 6, so you get half that, roughly. On both starting lines, you get a special speed power that is Charge, Flurry, Stealth. Pretty solid for either point value. He's got Cosmic Energy. He is unique. So top click, you have 12 with Blades, a 19 with Impervious, and 4 damage with Leadership. Similar kind of starting thing on the 100-point line, except you'll have 2 damage with Leadership and a 17 with Impervious. Still have an 11 with Blade, so you're only 1 less there. I feel like they really nerfed the other 2 stats. For the first 3 clicks, he has that standard, that special power for his speed, the Blades, Impervious, and Leadership. On clicks 4 and 5, he goes to Charge, Poison, Invulnerability, and Exploit Weakness. Click 6 is his other starting line where he gets 3 clicks of that special speed, Blades, Impervious, Leadership, and then his last 3 clicks are once again Charge, Poison, Invuln, and Exploit. He has mostly 3 damage, his whole dial, but his first 2 clicks are 4, and then his starting line, first 3, his second starting line, the 100-point line, is 2 damage. Attack values go from 12 for the first 2 clicks to 11 for the next 4, and then 10 for 3 clicks, 11, 12 on his last 2 clicks. He's kind of all over the place stats-wise, but they're all pretty decent. The 17 defense and 2 damage is probably like the worst he gets, but he's pretty fast. He's just a pretty solid figure. His trait is, because he does have a trait, I should mention this, the Death Blossom sprouts. At the beginning of your turn, generate a Kotati plant hindering marker within 6 squares. Then count the number of Kotati plant markers and perform the listed effects. If there are 2 or more Kotati plant markers, generate a Kotati warrior bystander, max 4. I can't keep doing the voice. If you have 4 Kotati plant markers, until your next turn, Koya and Kotati warrior bystanders occupying or adjacent to 1 or more Kotati plant markers modify attack and defense +1. So, just like we were talking about with plot points and mission points, so you're generating one of these markers at the beginning of your turn within 6 squares. That means you have to get to turn 4 just to get the +1 attack and defense, and you have to still be next to one of these. If somehow you get to turn 6 and you have 6 or more of the Kotati plant markers, Koya can use regeneration this turn, but only if he occupied a Kotati plant marker. So some late game kind of tactics, pretty decent. And then if somehow your game has gone to turn 8 and you have 8 or more of these markers, you deal 1 unavoidable damage to all opposing characters occupying or adjacent to 1 or more Kotati plant markers. If this guy wasn't unique, this would be amazing. If this was a special power and a certain character that isn't fixed yet but will be, could copy it, this would be amazing. I don't see you ever getting to turn 8 competitively, or making one of these competitively. I don't see Koya here actually ever making it to turn 8 at 200 points
Yeah.
competitively. I think he gets downed. So in sealed, I think depending on what else you pull, he is pretty awesome at either point value. At minimum, you get to generate one of these Kotati plant markers within 6 squares, so you always have stealth options with this character, which is great. I think if you didn't pull a ton of other like range-based kind of stuff or support stuff, playing this guy at full and just taking quick turns and trying to get to click 4 or get to 4 or more, so you've got a 13 attack and a 20 defense top dial, I think is pretty doable in sealed. I don't think people are taking really long turns in sealed. I should mention the Kotati warriors have sidestep with 9 speed, a 9 attack with nothing, 17 defense with toughness, and then 1 damage with empower. So they can boost their own damage up to 4. They can potentially boost Koya's damage up to 7 with flurry. So it's pretty decent in sealed.
Yeah.
I don't know how it'll work in constructed. Constructed, it's usually going to lean towards like the 100-point line, and the 100-point line just has too low of a starting defense for me. You only have to psychic blast him twice or hit him with exploit a few times. So I don't know. I like it. I think it'd be a really fun piece. I definitely wouldn't be mad if I pulled it in sealed or just in a booster, but yeah.
Looking at it, it is just like a lot to chew through again. I don't like that Captain America, but it has really, really heavy reducers the entire dial. So, hopefully you pull something else. The other 100 points that can fill out really help this dude. It sucks that he's not ranged, but
and
besides
if you can't take him down in 6 turns, and then he
it's rough,
gets to use regen,
it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. Next up, we have the infamous Iron Man. This is our title character of the set. This guy is really funny. Ignores characters and hindering for line of fire. 8 range, 2 targets, 100 points. Minions of Doom, Mystics, team ability. Very bland dial. First 3 clicks impervious. Last 4 clicks invulnerability. Starts with energy explosion and then alternates between that and pen blast. First 2 clicks running shot with 11 speed. Last, the rest of the dial is all sidestep. So we have a 7-click long character, an 11, 11, 18, 4 top dial with flight. Very solid 100-point attacker. Let's get into some of these plot points, right?
I feel
KO
like
effect.
so many title characters are 100 points and like 7 clicks or 8 clicks. Like it seems like a trend.
Dramatic, yes. It is very trendy, you would say. So this dude, what's he gonna do? Pretty simple. KO effect. When he is KO'd, opposing characters can use Outwit until the end of your next turn. Not the worst KO effect, but it's not the only KO effect this character has.
Play him with Gamora.
So,
yeah,
it's true.
Use that Outwit. Do it.
I dare you. Do it. He starts with 1 plot point. So +1. So much potential wasted. 3. Outwit until your next turn. When he uses it, he may instead target any number of characters that he has hit this turn and may choose a different power for each. So he's got 2 targets, or if he obviously energy explodes a ton of people, and he can outwit a ton of folks. So that's kind of neat. His -1 is I will be Iron Man. Free, make an attack with 4 targets. Hit characters are dealt a max of 1 damage. So that's all right. They're not all dealt 1 damage. They're dealt a max of 1 damage. So with only a 4 damage to give out, unless he's on a pen blast click, that's not like a crazy ability that he has. But 4 targets is still good with energy explosion at the very least. So yeah, that's kind of cool. It's useful on all of his clicks.
Depending on reducers. If they all have toughness, then it's like that's what you would do anyhow. But
yeah, no, pretty much. And then his last, sorry, it's not even his last. -2, I'll leave you to consider the subtext of our interaction. Okay, nerd. Free, have speed, phase and teleport is free. After resolutions, he can use regen as free. So this will keep him going, which is pretty nice. So have speed, phase and teleport, free regen. That's pretty good. He'll either be moving 6 or 4 squares, depending on where he's at. More than likely 4 squares on his dial with a sidestep somewhere in there to then regen. So free regen is pretty nice for a -2. All these are kind of cool. He's got a good +1 for outwit. He should be able to make quite a few attacks with all of his negatives. What else does he do? Well, he's got a big -5. A spell cycle to cheat demons and devils. Free. Turn Infamous Iron Man to click 1. This game, he has Cosmic Energy Team ability, can't be healed, may activate each of his other plot points once per turn for 0 plot points. And when Infamous Iron Man is KO'd, you lose the game. Okay. Dang, man. So he does all this cool stuff. And if you can somehow keep him alive and keep him going, he can do all of it every single turn for +0 plot points. It's pretty cool. Like it breaks the rules of how you can only activate 1 per turn. But at the same time, yes, he can do his free phasing at the very least, but then he can't do his free regen. He can't, because then he can't heal. And then at that point, you have to look, okay, he can't heal. So he gets to do all this cool stuff. It's not that great to totally keep him like running, gunning, total beast mode, So it's still really scary. He's still like they die and you just lose. Yeah, like, it's got to be desperate.
I'm on click 7, and like I have 5 plot points, because even then you could have speed, so you could phase 4, sidestep, and then use regen as free potentially, and still make like an attack or something. Like, you can do a lot with that -2. That -5 just kind of obliterates like the ability to. Well, it gets rid of the ability to heal. Man, I don't know. I think the only benefit from that is the free half speed phasing and being able to outwit. And it's like, do his stats hold up to losing the game after activating that? I don't think so. It doesn't give him like a +1 attack and damage or anything. Man. What a wonky, interesting but wonky piece. Yeah. It's like the reverse of the title character Wonder Woman, where if like she couldn't die, but if all the other Amazons on your team were gone, then like she was KO'd or she lost the game or something. All right. Next up, 057 Kitty Pryde, the second Kate Pryde in the set. This is the Star-Lord version. Don't let the image fool you. There is no wall on the actual sculpt, strangely enough. She's got the Guardians and X-Men team abilities. She comes in at 50 points with 6 range, 2 lightning bolts, has improved movement through blocking and characters, a Rally 5, which is opposing attack rolls, then free remove Kitty Pryde's Rally die. If you do this turn when a friendly character begins a move adjacent to her, they can use improved movement for blocking that movement. This would be extremely situational. The only time I could ever think that this would be something I would want is if I was playing an X-Men swap team for some reason, and my opponent put me on a really oppressive blocking map. And even then, your opponent has to roll a 5 first, so who knows when I want them to would I actually ever use this. But besides that, the other trait is our new Star-Lord. Characters that start the game on your force that have the Guardians team ability gain the X-Men team ability. So similar to, was it the Thing who gave Guardians Fantastic Four? She gives them X-Men. So interesting. For 50 points, you get a running shot energy explosion with 18 energy shield deflection and 3 damage leadership. So you're an 11, 11, 18, 3 for clicks 1 and 2. On click 3 through 5, you get sidestep, psychic blast, defend, and outwit, ranging from 10 speed on all of the sidesteps. Last click, you get a 9, otherwise it's a 10 attack. And then last click, you go up to a 19 defend, but clicks 3 and 4, you're on 18s. And then clicks 4 and 5, you have 2, otherwise she has 3 damage for first 3 clicks. It is what it is. This is a good 50-point range piece in a set that's filled with other good like range pieces. If you can, she does have flight, so if you have a shield TA or an enhancement that you can taxi around with her, it might be worth its like 50 points and then some. If not, if you don't have one of those, then it's just a solid little range piece. It's not going to outrange anyone, but it does have 5 clicks long dial, and it does have outwit and psychic blast down dial, so, you know, it'll be a decent piece in sealed. Would I build with it? Only if I'm building like a Guardians team. But man, I almost never use the X-Men team ability, so I don't really know what I'm playing this figure for. I just don't think I guess it does have pirate keyword, so there's at least one more pirate to the slow-growing pirate team.
Beautiful. I love it. Next up, we have good old Super Scroll here. He has the Guardians team ability and the Scrolls team ability. 6 range, 2 targets, 75 or 50 points. He'll get 3 more clicks on his 75-point line, and we'll see if it's worth it, shall we? So he's got 4 clicks of running shot, 4 clicks of incapacitate, 4 clicks of impervious, and then 4 clicks of his special damage power. Damage power is leadership and shape change. When he uses leadership and succeeds, you may instead generate a scroll spy on click 1 from this set. So super situational in sealed, in constructed, probably got some scroll spies. Otherwise, you're not playing this dude. He is also a captain. So yeah, he's a running shot 11 for 3, 18 impervious, 10 speed, top dial. On his 50-point line, he's only a 17 impervious, but the rest of the stats are the same. His last 4 clicks, he goes into charge, poison, defend, and shape change with a 17 defend to start it out, and then 2 18s and a 19 all the way there at the end. So he's got a 50-50 shape change his entire dial. He'll also have impervious, which is nice, and the Guardians, which means they can't lower his defense value or any of his stats for that matter. However, and his other trait is free, choose a friendly sidekick, and displayed standard attack power an opposing character adjacent to them can use. The chosen sidekick can use that power until your next turn. Very boring, very okay thing. It's the same thing with Taskmaster, the whole defense, whatever, it's not that good, it's not that cool, so he had a lot to live up to with his previous iteration. Does he live up to it? No, but I still think he's a solid sealed pick for 75 points as just a very vanilla ranged attacker. He's still got impervious, shape change, enough stuff to chew through that it can kind of be a pain for your opponent. And then, casually building with him, sure, I think he can be kind of fun since he actually does have leadership and he can bring in scrolls, makes him feel more like a leader of the scrolls. The sculpt is also really cool. I do really like it. But again, it does not beat the Fantastic Four Super Scroll. And it would have been really hard to. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's where he's at. I mean, he's solid.
That sculpt just
okay dial.
Incapacitate to me.
Yeah,
like,
wow.
Get over
yeah.
here, I'm going to incapacitate you.
Make you on whatever barrier invisible girl
this
you really
giant
quick.
flaming rock fist in my hand is going to incapacitate. Maybe it's the other hand. Maybe it's the giant invisible flex disc. Next up is Marvel. Number 059A in the set. Marvel comes in at 125 points and 75 points. He's got the Cosmic Energy team ability and the Shield team ability with 7 range, 2 lightning bolts. For 125 points, he's got Running Shot with Psychic Blast, an 18 invulnerability, and 4 damage top dial. At the 75-point line, he starts on click 4 and has 9 speed Running Shot with an 11 attack Psychic Blast, 17 defense invuln, and 3 damage with that same special power. After click 4, he goes down to a charge, energy explosion, super senses, and outwit piece. So decent dial. Either at 125 or 75, he's a decent range, penetrating Psychic Blast range piece. Kind of the average range that we've seen in the set, but he is a flyer. His special damage power is leadership. When Marvel uses it and succeeds, you may instead generate a Kree soldier on click 2. It'd be a lot cooler if you generated them on click 2. He actually generates them on click 1, which isn't as good somehow, but that is what it is. 2 traits. The first one is the Kree Scroll War. Free. Choose an opposing character within range. The chosen character can't use super senses or shape change when attacked by Marvel and friendly sidekicks this turn. That's pretty good, even in just sealed by itself. But in constructed, that's like something that might be with 7 range, and you can activate it as a free. That might be worth looking into building with. The second trait is the return of Marvel. The first time Marvel would be KO'd, instead turn him to click 8, then roll a d6 and heal him equal to half the result. If Marvel is 125 points, instead heal him equal to the result. So click 8, potentially, if you play him at 125, could heal all the way up to, let's see, click 2, and then for 75 points, could at most heal up to click 5, which is the first click of his charge dial. Pretty solid option. I think in sealed, unless I pull way better, I'm probably playing him at 125 for that 11-4. If I pull 50 points of good filler or support pieces, I'll play him at 75 because he's still an 11 for 3 with all the same like traits and everything. And yeah, he's got leadership. It's a decent figure. It's not anything mind-blowing, but it does bring a lot of good stuff to the table, especially with that free shut-off shape change and super senses for the chosen character. But yeah, I like him.
No, I think he's an awesome pick for sealed. I think he's solid running shot pen blast piece, So I dig him a lot. Prime Captain Marvel is 50 points, and quite a beastly 50 points, might I add. Shield, TA, 6 range, triple target. Like I said, only 50 points. Running shot, invulnerability, leadership, top dial for his first 3 clicks, and he is a 10, 18, 3 damage for all 3 of those clicks, and then he is 12, 12, 11 for those first 3 clicks. He has a trait, I just can't watch them die, I must act. A friendly character within range and line of fire is targeted with an attack. Before the attack is made, you may place Captain Marvel in a square adjacent to that character, and he becomes the target of the attack instead, even if it would otherwise be an illegal target. So that's pretty cool. So he can get a tank a few attacks here, which pairs really well with his last 3 clicks of 18 defense with regen. And he also has stealth on those last 3 clicks and prob on those last 3 clicks, wherein he ramps all the way up to a 4 damage on his last 2, which is pretty cool. His special attack power throughout his entire dial is Energy Explosion Pen Blast. When Captain Marvel hits with a ranged attack, give each character an action token. I love it, dude. Triple target Pen Blast, Energy Explosion, beautiful. They each get an action token. So he gets to shoot 3 different people, deal them all 1 pen, give them each an action token. I love this. Love it for 50 points. Super rare prime, not the craziest, coolest super rare prime, but a very, very solid figure. I think very fun to build around, very fun and sealed, very solid in a battle royale. Competitive? No, not really, but I think he's really dope. And I do like this Marvel a lot.
Yeah. The only thing keeping him from me thinking like he would be competitive viable is giving characters action tokens isn't what it used to be. With the change to willpower and like giant size and colossal size being able to roll like their over 50-50 willpower roll, it doesn't hit the same as it used to. And so otherwise, like if he could lock down groups of people similar to like the title character Harley Quinn with her weird energy explosion thing, if he could do similar thing to that with a 12 attack top dial, I think maybe competitive viable. But no, it's a absolutely solid piece and sealed and fun to build with for sure. We already talked about this next character 060 Mr. Fantastic. I'm gonna talk about him a little bit again. So he's got a special attack power. He comes in at 75 and 30 points, first of all. His 30-point line, which is the only one that really honestly matters unless you pulled absolutely terrible and sealed. And then his 75-point line might be worth it. So for 75 points, you get an 11-speed charge, 11 attack with his special attack that is, I'll handle my end, Tony. Quake, giant reach of 3. Decent, okay. It's all right. It's whatever. It's fine. Mr. Stretch is okay. He has an 18 impervious and 3 damage outwit on click 1. Same exact thing except 10 speed instead of 11 on click 2. and he does have flight because he's wearing the Iron Man suit. I guess Scott Porter also opened this, I believe. Clicks 3, 4, and 5, he goes to sidestep with toughness. On click 3, he has 1 click of perplex, unless that's a typo. 1 click of perplex on his die.
I think it's I think that's wrong because Flex is still benched, and then here on HC Realms, it's outwit the whole way. I believe is probably correct.
Yeah, that makes way more sense.
What's next is just wrong and stuff. We're used to it.
It happens. Yeah. For 30 points, he starts on click 5, where he has sidestep, still has that special attack power, 17 toughness, 3 damage outwit. Last 2 clicks are charge with 9 attack and that special power, 17 and 16 energy shield deflection, and then I'm guessing more outwit, even though it shows perplex again, but that is what it is. The more interesting part about this guy is that he has a rally 4, which is all attack rolls, and so the trait gives him plasticity right off the bat, and then free, remove Mr. Fantastic's rally die and choose an opposing character within range and line of fire. If you did, until your next turn, the chosen character gains a mobile. I think that's pretty cool. It does have to be within range and line of fire, which in his case is 3, which is not great, but it's all right. And then he has the Sonic Frequency Emitters trait, which is when Mr. Fantastic is given a move action, after resolutions, remove all non-debris terrain markers within range. So his range being 3. For 30 points, if you want to play this guy, even if he's on like a Fantastic Four swap team or like a X-Men swap team, because he fits on that too, or I think there's an Avengers swap team now, any of those, and your opponent has Molecule Man, who is also 30 points, this Mr. Fantastic can just kind of obliterate 3 solid squares of blocking around him, which is pretty cool. And it's a 11 square reach on his 30-point line to do that. In sealed, he's fine. In constructed and casual, I think he's worth maybe sidelining for those teams I mentioned. His keywords are Armor, Avengers, Fantastic Four, Illuminati, Kree, Scientist, and Skrulls. I don't think he brings anything to the table except in that specific situation where he's like destroying non-debris terrain markers, because it's not like printed blocking or anything, it's terrain markers. But yeah, that's pretty much all he does, and it's worth 30. That's about it.
Yeah. All right.
Hey Calder, what kind of figure you got now?
Now we have Venom Rogue, and there's what can't she do? Let's
honestly
we can talk about her for a long
traits
time.
Is pretty much all she can't do.
True, you're right. Traits is all she can't do. So, oh gosh, and I didn't even realize it's another X-Men Venom figure.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to.
Sorry, I'm a little slow. We've been recording. I mean, you guys know. You're aware of how long this podcast is. We've been recording for that long. Gosh, did I really get? God, this bothers me so much.
There's still Venom Magneto that you might not get.
Wolverine too.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna get one of those. Hopefully not. If I get both somehow, I'm not even gonna scroll down.
No, yeah.
I can't. All right, good.
No.
Plasticity, super senses. Gosh. Is in 4 squares line of fire, opposing character can be targeted by range combat attack. You know this. I've read this 4 times now. Another trait she has. I can remember everyone I've ever touched. When Venom Rogue hits, give a hit character an absorption token. 3, choose a displayed power that an adjacent character or a character with an absorption token can use. Venom Rogue can use that power until your next turn. What does this mean? Well, it doesn't say standard power, so that means she can choose a special power. So what does that mean? That means any adjacent character with a special power that is displayed, so on their current click number that you see through their little dial window, she can choose. So it's cool. She can use it until you choose again. So it's free. She can only use one of these powers, which is kind of cool. But as we've looked through rules and stuff here on the old Dial H Discord, we done figured out that when a character takes powers, when a character copies another character's power or ability, it's assumed that all self-referential text now references the name of that character that has copied that power or ability. Thanks to Luke there. Also, that's 21.9D in the comprehensive rulebook. 21.9B is characters, card name, reference, powers, abilities. Most powers or abilities on a character's card that use a character's name within the game text. If so, that effect only refers to a specific character and not any other characters with the same name, even ones with the same name, same set symbol, and collectors. These powers and abilities are self-referential. So if she does take a power, if it said Sky Tyrant can use Charge Flurry, blah, 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 if she takes that special speed power from Sky Tyrant, it is now would basically say Venom Rogue can use Charge Flurry, is basically what we're getting at here. So Venom Rogue, if she does not get changed, she could also, any character that has like starts on a stop click, Phoenix, Dark Phoenix, right? Stop Impervious, she could just copy that. And now she is a stop click every step of the way. Venom Rogue is also not unique. Venom Rogue is also a super rare. She's only 75 points. She is a 12 speed charge, 12 attack with nothing, 18 defense invulnerability, and 4 damage with exploit. She's a beast. She is a beast. All right.
Even without
yeah.
Assumedly,
disregarding the first
WizKids
trait.
will fix this to say standard power.
Right.
But even after the fix, a very solid figure.
Very solid. Let's if we assume that takes place, the rest of her dial, she doesn't have exploit. She has empower instead. And then she goes from charge to some sidestep back to some charge late dial. And then on her last 5 clicks of life, so on the 6 click long dial, she has Quake, deal energy, but she heals 1 click for each hit opposing character damaged by the attack. And when Rogue attacks, she deals penetrating damage. So the exploit doesn't even matter. Forget what I just said.
Yeah.
So she does penetrating damage her whole dial, which is pretty darn cool.
And with
Steal
Quake,
energy,
that means
which is great. She
2
can
pen
Quake
to every character, assuming no one has Invincible, because like in Sealed they won't.
They won't.
Yeah, assuming they can't reduce penetrating damage by any means. Yeah. She's
she's a
has
beast.
to be
She's
double
insane.
tapped, otherwise she is healing back to full every single time. Well, not every single time, but pretty often. No, some silly stuff that this power could do. Her free choose a displayed power that adjacent character or character with an absorption token could use. She could copy Franklin Richards' attack power, which grants him the ability to pick 3 standard powers. So she could copy that and then as a free action pick 3 more powers. I don't know if you'd want to, but you could. No, there's, like Calder said, there's characters that have printed retaliation clicks as special powers. There's really no end. I mean, you just heard us list off a lot of, so pretty much anything that's not traits, but you've heard us list off plenty of interesting special powers throughout this set, and that's just this set. Other sets exist, so it's kind of nuts. I'm assuming it'll be fixed before too long, but I honestly don't care because I don't play competitive enough to worry about it. If it doesn't get fixed, if this was how they intended it to be, I could see this Venom Rogue reaching Flash super rare prices, because having 2 on a team would be pretty amazing. Having 3 might even work. 4, obviously not for 300, wouldn't make any sense, but yeah, there's plenty of she can copy Scarab and shoot people from across the map, like silly stuff like that. But yeah,
No, she is just gnarly. She's great.
Yeah, and that's on top of just her being pretty decent without any of that, because she's one of the first ones where the symbiotic fusion trait actually really works, because she does get close. Like, that's her whole thing. So that plasticity and stuff just combos really well. The only thing, I guess you could put Galactus on her to make her an even 100 points. Give her some cosmic energy, so she can't be outwitted. All right, moving on to the chases. We've already gone over a lot of these, so I'm just going to real quick. Thor comes in at 300, 200, and 100 points. In sealed, absolutely play him at whatever you feel like playing him at, because he is pretty decent in sealed.
Yeah.
Starts with charge, running shot, sidestep, top dial. He's got charge on clicks 5 through 8, and then sidestep on clicks 9 and 10. Attack values never dip below an 11, mostly 12s. Click 1 is a 13. Defense values never dip below an 18. Usually it's a 19. His damage only goes down to a 3 on his last click. Otherwise, it's usually a 4. And click 1 is a 6. Clicks 2 through 4 are 5s. When he clears 2 action tokens, you give him a Power Cosmic token. And then he gets an additional target for each Power Cosmic token he is. So every third turn, he will get a Power Cosmic token and get more lightning bolts. And then he's got a special attack later on in his dial where if he hits 3 or more characters instead of normal damage, each hit character is dealt damage equal to his printed damage value, which is really good if you can get to, let's see, that's turn 6, and then turn 7 would, I mean, I guess Cosmic Energy, well, he wouldn't even want to roll for Cosmic Energy because he has to clear 2 action tokens. Yeah, it's at minimum turn 6 unless your opponent's like incapping him. But that's what he does. Like I said, in sealed, he's amazing. He's a little too... Oh, he does have a stop click, but it's okay. It's just like stop.
I think
and
at
flavor.
200 points in sealed, that's a very good call. A very strong figure to have to take down. If you get some good...
It's 300.
If you feel like you have
get
more attackers, you can play him at 100, you know? Like, but I think if you have some good support, one secondary attacker, I think he's very solid at 200 points in sealed. I would say this, just because of the existence of this store, I would cap like point values at like 200 points for a BR. This guy, you know?
He's the only one that breaks that, right?
200. I believe he's the only one that breaks 200, probably.
Hulk lower down is 225, and I think there's one other 200. Yeah, Koya is 200. So yeah, I think 200 would be a decent cap. No cap, as they say. No, he's a really cool sculpt. I really think he's going to go for a lot of money because it's a cool version of him. I just don't think there's a whole lot of competitive edge to be had. So it's going to be a casual, sealed, and amazing shelf piece kind of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think he's going to be an expensive figure on the secondary market just for being a big, beefy dude. Great sculpt. It's Thor. Yeah. Okay, Deadpool. Let's we've been talking for so long. Improved movement destroys blocking terrain. Targeting destroys blocking terrain. 175 or 75 cosmic energy team player. Dude, free. Choose an opposing character within range and line of fire. Roll d6, 4 through 6. The chosen character can't use team abilities until your next turn. That's so cool. He's a running shot, pen blast, 12 for 4, 19 defense, 12 attack, 10 speed, top dial. He's very cool. But after those first 3 clicks, he goes down real hard. He becomes a super senses toughness down dial with a stop click of impervious super senses, which is kind of like okay, I guess. Although I will say a little bit of a bummer on those last 3 clicks. He will have flurry. He'll get Blades, Claws, Fangs, Steel Energy, and Giant Reach 3. If he KOs an opposing character after resolutions, he may make an attack, but only target a character that shares a keyword or team ability with the KO'd character. Only a 12 for 3 on that flurry. I don't know if he'll KO a ton of stuff unless you get like a solid Blades roll, but he can heal back up to his 75 point top click. I think in sealed, if he can keep him top dial, then he's an absolute beast. I think he's a very fun casual piece. I don't think he's going to see any competitive play. And that's all I want to say about him. Simeon, I don't even want to know your opinion.
Yeah.
Go to Demon and Armor.
Talking about chases, so
tired.
If you pull it, probably play it. 064
basically.
is Demon and Armor, 50 points. We already talked about this character as well. 6 range, 2 lightning bolts. It's a sidestep TK. It's not the big beefy chase that you want. It is a decent support thing. It's got defend, invulnerability, demon, and armor can reduce pen damage, which is great. Not protected outwit though, so you have to watch out for that. It does have outwit on clicks 1 and 2, and then goes to prob all light blue powers on clicks 3 and 4, except defense. So mind control, incap, prob, and then the special defense. That's the whole dial. The trait is when a friendly character within range is attacked, the attacker cannot positively modify or replace their attack value, which I do like. I do think that's cool, because it's not range and line of fire. It's just that 6 range, so it works out pretty well. If you pull it, probably play it in sealed, and probably build with it in casual. It may see competitive play, but who knows?
See.
Definitely
Next
not
up.
this next character.
No, this dude is so bad. He's so boring, which hurts my little soul a lot. Thanos, old thanks here, is an Avengers and Cosmic Energy figure. He's got 7 range, 1 bolt, 150 or 100 points. We've talked about him before. Full dial of a special speed power and special damage power, which is charge running shot for speed. If Thanos has a control token, we'll get to once per turn when Thanos attacks after resolutions, another friendly character within 4 squares with the Avengers keyword may make an attack. How does he get control tokens? When a friendly character of 50 points or more with the Avengers keyword is KO'd, give him a control token. Okay, thank you, Thanos. So someone's got to die to get a control token. And then they have to be 50 points or more, which really sucks. And then you got to make an attack. It doesn't say free. I would hope it's a free attack.
This is another character that needs fixed because
clarification. Yeah.
Just you can make an attack. You know that thing that you can take a costed action to do? You could do that. It's like,
you can go ahead and make that
but
costed
do I
action.
have to pay? It's like if
I
you're
wanna
standing
pay.
at a store and you like pick up like a PS5 and the clerk just looks at you and they're just like, you can take that. It's like, but am I allowed to for free? Like, I don't know. That was a weird example.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. He has the full dial of penetrating psychic blast. Starts with a 12 for 150s and 19 defense top click. His damage power is leadership and prob. Very solid. If he has a control token, and when he uses leadership, friendly characters with the Avengers keyword modify the following combat values based on his leadership role. So 2 through 3, they modify attack +1. 4 through 5, they modify damage +1. And on a 6, they modify attack and damage +1. So it's cool. It's neat enough, I guess. I think the thing that keeps the Thanos from being very playable for me is like 2 stop clicks. If he had 2 stop clicks anywhere on his dial and then like a
Like
1
4
stop click
and 8. Yeah.
Yeah, like on 4 and 8, with the same 100-point split, then I'm like, yeah, this is a 150-point character. He will last very long. He will see other friendly characters die. With no stop clicks, with just impervious, with no reducing penetrating damage. At the very least, he is protected outwit. But I mean, you've talked about how easy penetrating damage is to get in this set. This is probably one of the chases, him and Thor, that hurt the most from not reducing penetrating or having invincible. It's really, really rough. So yeah, like the Thanos is just very bland and boring. He's running shot and charge. Like that's cool. It's neat enough. I'll probably play him quite a lot just because he's dressed as Captain America. But besides that, everything is based around someone of 50 points or more dying with the Avengers keyword. Now in sealed, he's a risky 100 points to play for 5 points, but he is at the very least, he's a leadership, he's a prob. He is a charge running shot, pen blast.
I think
he's
one of the few characters I play at only like the top point and in sealed.
I think you would have to play top though, because you need that 12 for 4 to justify. You need that longer dial to try to keep him alive.
Yeah, and that 19 with prob might actually make someone miss, whereas an 18 with invuln, they're probably going to hit no matter how many times you try and prob it. No, yeah, he is still a chase. He is still like a high point, decent character, does pen damage. In sealed, he's fine. It's just never plan your team around something dying, something 50 points or more dying. Number 066 is Beast. Dr. Henry McCoy. This is the weird Sorcerer Supreme Beast who's floating and has like a cloak and stuff. Comes in at 125 and 75 points. For 125, you get 2 clicks of, well, you get a lot of stuff. But you have 12 speed with charge, 12 attack with blades, special defense with a 19 and 18, and a special damage with a 3 and 2 damage. On clicks 3 and 4, you go to Sidestep, Energy Explosion, 18 Super Senses, and 3 damage prob control. On click 5, which I believe, click 5 is the 75 point line, you go back to that same charge, blades, special defense, special damage. And then clicks 6 and 7, you go back to Sidestep, Energy Explosion, Super Senses, Prob. And then click 8, which is the last click, you go back to the charge, blades, special defense with a 19 again, and then 2 damage. So this beast has a friendly rally 1 and 2, so 2 different options. But it's for friendly rolls that are apparently bad. Free, remove Beast's rally die. If you do, choose one. Beast has the Cosmic Energy team ability until you choose again, or this turn, friendly characters have the X-Men team ability and can use it as free. This is interesting only because Beast has the X-Men team ability, and Moira can give him one of these rally dies at the beginning of the game, or pretty much turn 1. The Moira that hands out rally dies to X-Men can do that. Beast has Mystics and X-Men. It's a good pull in Sealed. The defense power is Defend, Invuln, Super Senses. So you've got the only Defend in this set that has a 19 top dial, which I think I would play it at 125 if I pulled it in Sealed. The Invuln and Super Senses is okay. And then if one of your if one of your friendly characters did roll a 1 or a 2, you can potentially give Beast that Cosmic Energy. Sadly, I think the X-Men team ability to all friendly characters only works if you have bystanders and like autonomous actions to really take advantage of it. And then the special damage power is Outwit Prob. When Beast uses Outwit until your next turn, the chosen power also can't be used by opposing characters if they are within 4 of Beast. 4 squares of Beast. So it's kind of like a catch-all for picking a power. And it's not Outwit, so it actually gets around characters that have protected Outwit. So you use Outwit, and then until your next turn, the chosen power also can't be used. It's not also Outwitted. So if you Outwit someone who isn't protected Outwit, you can get around protected Outwit on other characters, which is fun. Opposing characters within range can't use Safeguard Outwit. So all that I just said, completely unnecessary, or protected Outwit. I forgot about that part. No, I think this guy is interesting outside of Sealed. I think I'd play him at 125 in Sealed, and then 75 might play with him. He's only 4 clicks long for 75, but he is interesting. Does have the Mystics X-Men team ability and can potentially get Power Cosmic. It's cool sculpt. Not a lot to say. 6 range, 3 lightning bolts. I'm probably never going to want to use that, but it's an option.
Yeah, he's a Magic the Gathering playing furry, so that's a no from me, dog. Next up, Norrin Rad, Cosmic Energy, Mystics, 8 range, 150, 75, Cosmic Defenders, F4, blah, 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 blah. Arting, Norse Hindered Terrain. Yo, he's a solid, I think he's a really awesome pick here. Once again, sucks he doesn't have a stop click, but he's a 12, 12, 18, 4 for his first 2 clicks with Running Shot, Pen Blast, Impervious, Probability Control. He gets some Sidestep, Energy Explosion, Outwit, and then his 75-point line is also a Running Shot, Pen Blast. This is there, but I think for 150, it's really good. He has Rally. On a 5 or 6 opposing rolls. Free. Remove a rally die. If you do, choose one to last through your next turn. Norrin Rad and adjacent friendly characters can use ESD or enhancement. When he uses it, he may treat other friendly characters within range and line of fire as adjacent. Very, very good support, this guy. Very cool. I like it a lot. And then he has another trait, Cosmic Board and Cloak of Levitation. Free. Choose an adjacent friendly character with the Cosmic Energy or Mystics team ability. Till your next turn, that character gains Wing Symbol and can choose and the chosen team ability. So adjacent friendly character, they can get Cosmic Energy or Mystics, and they can also become a flyer, and either one of those. Really cool, really solid. Once again, it just sucks he doesn't have any stop clicks for 150 points. So he could get Pen Blast shot through right away. You just got to be careful with him. So I could lean either way, 150 or 75. I think 150 is so solid though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
real good. It's real solid.
75's a little economically point value wise, but you're likely not going to last 2 hits. I don't think you're ever going to last 2 hits if you're playing him at 75. It's a good pull though. Like if you can get the 1 hit, he is probably one of the higher reaching characters with a 14 square reach for 75. So you'll probably get the first attack. You got to make it count because they're gonna probably have a psychic blast as well.
Yeah.
Next up, Venom Wolverine. This is Laura Kinney. 75 points. It's a charge blades piece. So top dial is combat reflexes, charge, blades, exploit. On click 1, it's 12 attack. Has the same symbiotic fusion trait, plasticity, super senses, if you're within 4 squares. So this is one of the other ones where you are already a close combat piece like Venom Rogue, where you just get additional benefits to that. The other trait is merged with the symbiote, giant reach of 2, free if Venom Wolverine has 2 action tokens, make a close attack, which is great. That means you just keep like you never have a turn where you can't really make attacks for normal reasons. Special attack power on the last 3 clicks is Blades Claw's Fangs. When Venom Wolverine uses it after resolutions, heal her equal to half the d6 result, which would be great if it had a stop click, and it does. Stop, regen, toughness. So 6 clicks long. If you hit that stop click and you can blade something and heal half the d6 result, you're healing off that stop click every time. Pretty decent little piece for 75 points. I think it's an automatic play. There's no other point value, so there's really not a lot to talk about. It's pretty simple. It does have team player, so it can add that in, but keywords are Codex, Detective, Monster, Weapon X, X-Force, X-Men, so it's going to fit on the normal X teams, and it's a really solid sealed pick if you manage to pull it.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
I promise it's the last one.
Not
you have
the property. Thank you.
Read about.
Mentally prepared here. Mentally prepared for it. 175 or 35 points, 8 range, 2 targets. Venom, Magneto, Brotherhood, X-Men. I'm not going to read the symbiotic fusion trait. It also has traded ESD and Passenger 4. Wow, that's pretty fired. I'm not going to lie. He also has a special attack power on his top 2 clicks of a starting line, his bottom 2 clicks, which are also his 35-point starting line, which is telekinesis, and then telekinesis as free. Yo, that's pretty crazy cool if you ask me, my guy. Last thing is he has a special damage power for his first 3 clicks or on his very last click, which is Symbiote Supremacy, Leadership. When Venom Magneto uses it and succeeds, you may instead remove an action token from another friendly character with a monster keyword within range and line of fire, and give an action token to an opposing character adjacent to that character. So that's pretty neat. How neat is that? I said that's pretty neat. So he's got a full dial leadership. He's a 12 for 4 at 100 points. But again, his only attack power is TK. I think economically, 35 points. Yo, this guy is awesome. Double TK, Passenger 4, traded ESD, traded Plasticity, Super Senses, even with the 16 defense. He brings leadership to the team. Really awesome. Really, really awesome at 35 points. The 2 clicks, yeah, that really sucks. He's really easy to take out. He's a 18 defense. This is where you would hope, 18 from range, or in just a super senses roll. He's super easy to kill, but so economical at 35 points. That double TK with that Passenger 4. Oh, baby. And then top dial, if you don't pull any other really good range combat characters in sealed, once again, if we look at all those low dial figures, those enhancements, those shield TAs, he's a 12 for 4 base stats. That's awesome. That's really awesome to just build off of. Are you kidding me? That's great. And he's 8 range, 2 targets. This dude can be a sniper. Venom Mags is great. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, with that 4 squares and all the shield, you could easily pull enough shield to make him an 11 range piece in the set. Never, ever even bother looking at the 75 point line. It's it's either 35 or 100, and that 75 point line is like the worst like random middle section cut that you could make on a figure. There's zero reason for him to ever be
I
on
don't
that.
think I'll ever play 75. It's bad.
No.
So bad.
Next up, we have Robert Paulson. Oh, wait, nope, Robert Reynolds. That's right. His name was Robert Reynolds. Good old Sentry comes in at 150 or 50 points. 50 points will get you 4 clicks, which is a charge, steal energy, invuln, exploit weakness piece that goes to sidestep close combat expert with at least 3 damage printed on like the whole thing. So there's that. For 150 points, you get a 12 attack with a 19 impervious and 4 damage and a special speed power for the first 3 clicks, and that is flurry, charge, but do not have speed. So if you pull this guy in sealed, you're playing him at 150. You've got a 12 for 4 full speed charge flurry. That's just what it is. You know, you're just going to play that. 2 traits. Sentry can reduce pen damage, which is another reason why you want him at 150. That impervious that can reduce pen. I think he's the only one other than Demon Armor that can reduce pen in the set. Maybe Hulk, I don't remember. But then also the Horseman of Death trait is when Sentry KOs an opposing character after resolutions, you roll a d6. On a 1 through 2, you deal him 1 unavoidable damage, which isn't great. But on a 3 through 6, you remove an action token from him, which is the majority of the rolls that you should make, and it's pretty good. Clicks 2 through 8, it's steal energy. 2 through 6, you have exploit weakness. So you're dishing out a lot of pen damage mid-dial. You have that flurry power for a lot of your clicks, and you reduce by 2 more than half your dial with 2 rollouts on the top 2 clicks. He's a good piece. He's got cosmic energy, so you shouldn't have to worry about outwit. It's a cool-looking sculpt on top of all of that. He's got 6 range, but there's not a single point on his dial that makes sense to make a ranged attack unless your opponent has, I guess, like combat reflexes. But yeah, that's Sentry. He's an instant play at 150 and sealed for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. Next up is Hulk, who is a much harder character at an instant play at his top dial. Cosmic Energy, 225 or 50 points. Improved movement, ignores or destroys blocking, ignores characters. Top dial, he's a 12 speed charge, 10 attack, 18 defense, impervious, 4 damage, exploit. He's a giant, so he'll have 2 square giant reach and giant willpower, which is pretty solid. So I like that a lot. His trait is the second Horseman War. An opposing character was damaged this turn, modify Hulk's attack value +1. An opposing character was KO'd this turn, modify his attack value +2 instead. Well, considering if he's at 225 in a 300-point format, he would be your main attacker. So you don't have a lot of other people that would make attacks or damage people or KO people at 225. So I think obviously BR playing that full whatever, but in sealed and then normal play, 50 is his like just best point line. I mean, unless you're playing a 400, 500 point game where you can have other people make attacks besides this dude, his 50 point line is just better. Because you're still a 10 speed charge, 10 attack, 4 damage exploit, 17 defense. Like you lose 2 speed and you lose 1 defense, but you save 175 points on his 4 click line. And sure, you lose all those clicks in between, whatever, but still.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about his
guarantee
special.
You'll actually get to use those. I would
Really
pay
isn't.
225 in sealed if clicks 5 through 7 were clicks 1 through 3. If he had his charge flurry 13 for 6 top dial, that'd be way more something I would look at.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's got blades. He has charge flurry and that special speed power. Like I said, he does heavy stop click, stop, invuln, regen, safeguard, opposing prob. On that stop click, he will have steal energy with exploit, which can heal him up to his flurry charge steal energy, which is also another good point. He always has charge his whole dial, which is very solid. So I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah. So yeah, man, that is Hulk. That's Dr. Bruce Banner. He is like okay. I would just say play him at 50 though. I think 225 is a big
Yeah.
yikes.
I
Oh
feel
man,
like
this is butts.
you should
Go ahead.
pull way better than you should pull way better than playing Hulk at 225. It'll be tempting, but you're gonna miss so many attacks and you're gonna be out actioned so quick. I mean, he will remove action tokens, but you're getting an attack each turn, and let's just say your opponent misses you a bunch. You have a 10 attack. You have to roll 8s. You don't have any support power really. It's gonna be rough. Next up, last chase in the set is Ricky Barnes. Ricky Barnes is kind of fun, so she's got a special speed power that is Dream of a Soldier power in any order. Move, make a close attack, make a range attack. If she attacks, she uses her printed damage values. She has improved movement elevated and improved targeting characters and out of adjacency. So you can move her printed 9 speed on her first click. That's what it is. On her last click, she also has this power with 7 speed. So you'd be able to move the full 9 speed, make a close attack or range attack or any kind of combination of those. But since she can shoot out of adjacency, you might as well just base them right off the bat and then do both. On clicks 1 and 2, she has an 11 attack with Quake and 3 damage with Leadership. On click 1, she has an 18 with her special defense power that is Energy Shield Deflection, Toughness, and adjacent friendly characters that are not on their starting clicks modify defense +1. On click 2, she goes down to a 17 with that same power. Clicks 3 through 5, she becomes very boring, where she has regular running shot with 10 attack, energy explosion. On click 3, she still has an 18 with that special defense power, and then 4 and 5, she gets a 17 with toughness and enhancement with a 3 on click 3 and then 2s on click 4 and 5. Luckily, on click 6, she bumps back up to 2 ways to deal pen damage. She has Psychic Blast and Exploit Weakness, which might be her best click. And she has that special speed power once again, so she can move and then shoot and close attack. Her one trait is Girl Without a World. The first time Ricky Barnes would be KO'd, instead turn her to click 6, then heal her a number of clicks equal to the number of different team abilities that all characters on the map can use, which is could be a lot. That could be a heal up to click 1 kind of situation. It'll never be a heal nothing situation though.
Right.
Because she has the team ability team player, so that's at least 1.
Yeah.
But yeah 75 points. It's essentially flurry, but it gives you a ranged attack in there if you so choose. It also gives you a essentially full speed running shot or full speed charge if you can make it. If you can't make the full speed running shot, she's still got a 14 range or 14 reach, square reach. So if you're not making the close attack, you can still do the ranged attack part, which is fine. It's not amazing stats, but it's a pretty decent little fig.
Yeah, totally. I really like this Ricky Barnes. We discussed it in the Discord a little bit, but I personally think she wouldn't be busted at all if she was allowed to modify her damage value. Countless characters can not do exactly what she does.
Perplex damage anymore. Like
yeah.
You would have to set it up.
Perplex. You have to either do power gem or set up enhancements or empowers and stuff like that. So it's not that easy to up damage anymore. So yeah, but I really do love her. I think she is definitely scroll back, listen, if you've remembered anything that we've talked about this set, almost every single character in this set has a team ability, whether that's Fantastic Four, Guardians, X-Men, Shield, Hydra, Mystics, Power Cosmic. Tons of team abilities are in this set. Team player, whatever, you know what I mean? In sealed from you and your opponent, she's definitely going to be healing, I would say 3 or 4 clicks.
At least 3.
Yeah. At least 3, yeah.
So she's at least going back up to like click 3. But yeah, easily could go back to click 2 or 1, in my opinion. Even in sealed, I don't think that'd be too crazy.
A really cool take on Living Legend, a really cool version of it, and I really like it. I really like this version. of Rick. I mean, this is the only version of Ricky Barnes we've ever had. She feels very run gun Captain America-esque, very like gotta live up to something, and I love it. I love the way this dial feels. I love the way it plays. It's really, really cool, and I think it's just an awesome figure. Makes me excited to buy a lot of this set. But yeah, Simeon, that's Empyre. We did it. We discussed it all. What do you think, man? Like, where are you at in buying cases or bricks wise, picking up singles? How are you feeling on this set, man?
If it wasn't for the super rares, I might be like lowering how much of the set I was getting into, but because I was hoping for way more generics than what we got, but the Ultrons really did me in when I saw those. There's still enough of the chases that I'm interested in, and then there's just a lot of really solid commons and uncommons and even rares. Like if I could get a full CUR on the secondary market, I'd probably just do that and then like cherry pick. But I think instead I'll probably just pick up like a brick sometime, or I'll do like a brick and then play in sealed, so eventually end with like a case worth of all of it.
Yeah, nah, dude, definitely. I think I'm definitely getting a case. They made the smart decision to make 2 chases Captain America related, which means I have to own them. And Super Rare Captain America, I'm gonna need 3 copies of for sure. And those Ultrons really helped push it. So like a case, definitely, if not 2 cases, if I'm being honest. I really do like this set. I think it would mean I have to skip War of the Realms or only get a brick of War of the Realms and then go all out for Disney Plus. But I think I'm definitely getting a case, and then we'll see about a potential second case. It's a big maybe, but only because they made the smart decision of putting characters I like in high rarities. Otherwise, it would be a pretty easy set to just pick up singles. But when you need like chases from a set, it's probably smarter to just buy a case or a brick, see what you pull, sell the super rares. I only need 1 super rare, so that's an easy way to try to make some money back. Sell that, hope I get whatever, trade fodder to get stuff. You know what I mean?
As bad as it sounds, I think on release day, if they haven't fixed Venom Rogue, you might be able to sell her for close to like $60-$70. If they never fix her, I feel like it'll stay there, but yeah, just like a word to the wise, I would assume that they're going to fix that pretty quick, because it gets real messy when you get into like certain special powers that, especially special powers that unique characters and like primes have that aren't meant to have duplicates on teams. When you suddenly can do that, yeah. But no, I think it's a good set as far as making like your money back from selling chases, or being able to trade for pieces that you want. And then there's only a couple super rares that I'd consider like flubs, where they're not going to be like playable, in my opinion, for like my teams.
Yeah. But yes, I mean, is there anything else you really want to talk about for Empyre? Otherwise, I am good. I think this was a great episode. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it way more than our Rise and Fall one, because talking about more characters. Even if I had to talk about almost every stupid X-Men in the world here. But besides that, I do like Empyre. It's rough though. WizKids is competing against themselves. People have to choose Empyre or Disney Plus or War of the Realms to try to go into, and really, Disney Plus is winning for me more so. Like I want to open a lot of that set, but again, it depends on what they do. So, but Empyre, I think it's going to be a really fun sealed set. I think it's going to be an awesome battle royale set. I think there's a lot of cool, fun stuff in it. And I just can't wait to get my hands on the product. Just period.
Yeah. Let's jump into the starter set real quick. So 101A.
No, please. No.
But if you want to jump into the Spider-Man, if you want to jump into the starter set, you know where you can pre-order that. That's right. It's CoolStuffInc.com, because this is segue time, and that's what I do here. You can check out all kinds of stuff. Probably not segues, but you can check out, the latest Heroclix singles and sealed products, including X-Men, Wolverine, fantastic Rise and Fall. What is this? What is this set called? Empyre. That one. That's what I meant. The X-Men Fantastic Four Wolverine Empyre set. Soon to be released, I'm sure. But yeah, you can check out all that at coolstuffinc.com.
Happy trails.
So if you're looking for emotional satisfaction, my advice to you is seek professional
Heroclix?
help.
Are you serious? Again? How many people even play this game? Like 100?
Instant deadpan humor.
Over 6 people think I am funny.
It's a hard day's work. Not that you know anything about that. Would you?
You absolute fools, it's not.
Witcher nonsense.
I'm gonna make Heroclix like that forever. Are you kidding me?
Hey Google, attack someone.
Let's attack Simeon because he's a jerk.
Happy trails.